things that I talked with a few people about yesterday, continuing on with what we dealt with on Wednesday, we will give praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yah, and by way of His Son, our King and Savior and Master, Yahushua HaMashiach. And let's go on here and get it started. Woo! We will be at Pablo Creek Branch Library on the morrow. Pablo Creek Branch Library on the morrow. John chapter 5 verse 39 says this: search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that ye have not the love of Elohim in you. That's what we got to sit back and look at. But the love of Yah is not in a lot of people. We got to make sure it's in us. And we know if the love of Yah is in us. I think somebody might have seen something what we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Let me ask y'all a question. Did y'all ever hear me say the Ruach HaKodesh is the law? Y'all ever heard me say that before? See, I think somebody might have misconstrued what I said. What I said is when the Ruach HaKodesh dwells in you, you would quite naturally keep Yah's laws, because Yah's laws are a part of His Spirit. Because it's what make. Come over here to 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 2 Peter 2 and chapter 1 and about verse 5. I want y'all to see this and understand that these are the things that make up what makes Yah who He is. I'm going to still talk about some of these things that pertain to this harvest, and why that y'all shall know that we will begin redoing Feast of Tabernacles at September 27th at even. Which means I'll probably start on that day, September 27th at 7:30. You know what I'm saying? And then every subsequent day after that, I will begin at 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Well, I work out with the logistics with the people who are here in the city. Y'all will on tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But that first Shabbat, 7:30. And then after that, 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Because we will be redoing it. And if you didn't see it, the correction is that last day will begin November the 2nd and end November the 3rd. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to take the time out now to get your days off and adjust your schedule accordingly. Don't let these people have you in no fear about your job, because if you fear your job more than you fear Yah, you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? You got a problem. When I done told y'all once and I told you twice, we done dealt with this a long time ago. If y'all saying, and if he gave to the apostle Shaul, the apostle Paul, to say, if a man don't take care of his own, he is an infidel and he done denied the faith of his own household, you got to understand, know, and believe that Yah would take care of his household. You would have to know that. You know what I'm saying? You would have to know that. If you don't know that, well, you're not fit for this. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. According as His divine power have given unto us all things that pertain unto life and godliness, through the knowledge of Him that have called us to esteem and virtue, whereby are giving unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these you might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. You see what he said that you would be a partaker of, gentlemen? What did he say you would be a partaker of, gentlemen? What did he just say you would be a partaker of? The divine nature. What is the word? Y'all know the word divine, right? That's referring to godly. You know what I'm saying? His nature. So if we go sit back and we go read Exodus 34, right? And he says, you know, he proclaimed the name of Yah, Yahuwah Elohim, abundance and goodness and truth, long suffering, mercy, forgive sins, abundance and goodness and truth. He says he shows all the things that he says he show in his nature. He said he show kindness to those that love him and keep his commandments. You know what I'm saying? All these things is what makes Yah, Yah. The first thing you got to know is in the book of Job, it states that Yah, he say, far be it from the Almighty to do iniquity. We know iniquity is transgression of the law, lawlessness. So if it's far from the Almighty to commit iniquity, do you really think the Almighty, you will have His Spirit and have no laws? Does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense now, does it? Come over here to Job since I said it. That make any sense to any of y'all? I guess it do then. Make sure I get the right verse that I want. Give me a second. I'm trying to remember where it's at. I think it's Job 34 that I desire. But let me make sure it's Job 34. Y'all all right? Ain't nobody answered that said nothing. Y'all know the Almighty. Y'all think the Almighty nature, you'll commit sin? You think you'll be doing sin with that in you? What y'all think? Oh, well, work with me then, then. Well, let's look at Job 33 and 4 first. Because he said now that these great and exceeding, that divine power pertains to life and godliness. That divine power pertains to life and godliness. So we'll look at that and we can sit back and look at it pertains to life and being Kadesh, being set apart. That divine, let me make sure I read it again, right? That divine power will pertain to everlasting life and being set apart. 33 and 4. The spirit, the ruach of Elohim. So realize the breath of Elohim, right? Have made me. So when we see the breath of Elohim have made me, who we gonna go straight back to? And then who else we gonna go back to? Where else we gonna see that again? We gonna see that with the apostles when the Mashiach breathed on them. When he breathed on them, he was showing that he was making them. He was making them into becoming the sons of Elohim, like Yah made Adam into becoming the son of Elohim when he breathed upon them and breathed through. He told them, receive ye the Ruach HaKodesh. Receive this and become separated. Remember the thing he prayed for them for in the 17th chapter of Yuchanan or in the chapter of John. He says, sanctify them with thy truth. Thy word is truth. And I've sanctified myself by the truth, that they also might be sanctified by the truth. I mean, I set them apart. The spirit of Elohim have made me, and the breath of the Almighty have given me life. So when we turn around and we look at that, the breath of the Almighty is John chapter 6 and about verse 63. We'll come back to Job though. We'll look in Romans chapter 1 and about verse 3. And also Romans chapter 8 and about verse 1. You got to understand something. The word of Yah pertains to life. The Ruach HaKodesh pertains to life. When the divine nature and the godliness of Yahuwah dwells in you, then you are as he is. That's why he said, do not think it robbery to make yourself equal with Elohim. This is the same mind that a Mashiach had. So when you turn around and you see that you have made yourself equal with Elohim, that means you are as he is. This is why they wanted to kill a Mashiach when he said, he and my father are one. They say for a man, he say for good works, we stone thee not. But because thou being a man, maketh thyself Elohim. So you see that. If he making himself Elohim, they know what time it is. You saying you don't commit no sin. The Almighty does not sin. If you possess his spirit, you will not sin. If you possess his spirit, you have eternal life. This is how we know that Adam was not made to live forever. This is how we know this. This is how we know this. John 6 and 63. Make it 61. 60, matter of fact. Many therefore of his disciples, when they heard this, said, this is a hard saying. Who can hear it? Why is this a hard saying and who can hear it? Hold what you got and come to Proverbs 15, what I was talking about talking to y'all about earlier. He said, this is a hard saying. Who can hear it? And make sure that's what I wanted. It might have been 25. I know some of y'all, some of those who was with there we go. 12, my apologies, 25 and about verse verse 11. Verse 11. Proverbs 25 and verse 11. Is everybody all right? All right. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and pictures of silver. Can y'all picture that in your mind? Apples of gold in a picture of silver, meaning, basically like a picture, like gold apples in a nice silver platter. That look beautiful, ain't it? Well, that's the same way a good word spoken in season would look, wouldn't it? Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Somebody done came and said the right word to you at the right time. It was beautiful to you. If you ain't never had it happen to you, I feel sorry for you. Look what else he say. He said, as an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold, so is a wise reprover upon an obedient ear. So what y'all, you come back to John chapter 6. What y'all think that could mean? What y'all think that could mean? He say, even as a fine ornament of gold, he say, so is a wise reprover to an obedient ear. Well, come back to John chapter 6, and we'll just back it up some about verse 56, and we'll see if we can see something about a wise reprover. And we'll see something about a wise reprover. Let's see something about that. Let's see about that. He that eat my flesh and drink my blood dwell in me, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, I live by the Father. So he that eat me, even he shall live by me. This is that bread which came down from Shamahim. Not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth this bread shall live forever. For those who was around me yesterday, y'all already know where we headed by this, because we talked about some of this yesterday. Did we not? Listen what he said. These things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they heard this, said, this is a hard saying, who can hear it? They don't even sit back and realize Hamashiach is reproving them and correcting them about certain things. We didn't go all the way up, but he was sitting there telling them about how he was the manna that came down from Shamahim, not like the manna that your fathers ate in the wilderness and are dead. He was telling them all of these things. But see, let's look what happened, because they said it was a hard saying. That means they didn't have an obedient ear. We're going to see how they didn't have an obedient ear. When Yahusha knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, doth this offend you? What and if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Ruach that quicken. It is the Ruach that make alive. Remember what we just read in Job 33? It's the Ruach of the Almighty that what? Have given me life. The flesh profit nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. Well, we already know from what Peter said that the divine power that the Most High has given us pertains to life and being set apart. But there are some of you that believe not. For Yahusha knew from the beginning who they were that believed not and who should betray him. And he said, therefore said I unto you, that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father. From that time many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. Then said Yahusha unto the 12, will you go away also? Then Simon Peter answered, Master, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life, and we believe and are sure that thou art Mashiach, the Son of the living Elohim. Don't you realize that when he reproved them, they had an obedient ear to hear what he had to say? That was like a fine jewel, fine gold ornament. That's what he said. That's what a wise reprover is to an obedient ear, because he asked them, does this offend you? Are you offended at this saying? That's why Mashiach always said, he that have ears to hear, let him hear. Because everybody does not have an obedient ear. Matter of fact, before we proceed further, Jeremiah chapter 6. Jeremiah chapter 6. It might be 10 that I won't make sure. Look at verse 16 for a moment, because they turned around and started walking with him, so it's still going the same pattern. That ain't what I wanted there. Actually, there it is. Praise y'all. Look at verse 10 before we look at verse 16. Matter of fact, just make it 9. Matter of fact, make it 8. Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 8. Be thou instructed, O Jerusalem, let my soul depart from thee, lest I make thee desolate, a land not inhabited. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts. They shall thoroughly glean the remnant of Yasharal as a vine. Turn back thy hand as a grape gatherer into the baskets. To whom shall I speak? To whom shall I speak? And give warning that they may hear. Behold, their ear is uncircumcised, and they cannot hearken. Behold, the word of Yahuwah is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it. See, when you turn around and they sat back and they heard the words that Mashiach said, they didn't have no delight in it. That's why it offended them and they stopped walking with it. See, drop down to verse 16 and it'll be even more clear. Thus saith Yahuwah, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Calm down, my lad. And I also set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not hearken. See, that's the same thing what I was sitting back telling y'all. You can come over here to Romans chapter 1, verse 3. That's the same thing I was telling y'all when I tell y'all certain things about don't do this or don't do that. You hear the sound of the trumpet and you like, I ain't listening to what he's saying because I don't care what he got to say. And I'm sitting back looking at, if you don't care what I got to say, I know you don't care what y'all got to say. Because your ear is uncircumcised. That's why you can't hear. That's why you can't take warning. See, you think your heart's circumcised, but how is your heart circumcised if your ear is uncircumcised? That's why he steady tell you, he that have an ear, let him hear. You can't hear because your ear uncircumcised. You know what that means to have an uncircumcised ear? Let's look at Deuteronomy 10 and 16. It's about the same thing. Absolutely. That's why you say that a fine piece of gold is a wise reprover unto an obedient ear. Just look what he tell you. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart and be no more stiff-necked. So you know full well if your ear uncircumcised, you're hard-headed. You know if you're stiff-necked, that means you're stubborn, right? You know what that means if you're stubborn? Who know what it means according to this word if you be stubborn? I done told it to y'all a million times. That means you're an idolater and you in iniquity. Because he says stubbornness is as sin and idolatry and iniquity. You see how serious that is when you don't listen? That's rough right there, ain't it? But I'm talking about, boy, that's tighter than a size 36 pants on a 300-pound man. Buttons about to bust on that one. That's how it got to be, though. I didn't realize that, right? If you don't listen, you got an uncircumcised ear. That means you will not hearken. You will not take the warning. That means what I'm saying to you or what the word is saying to you is a dishonor to you, and you don't delight in what you being told, which means there's no way you got an obedient ear. Because you can't do what you're told. Woo, praise y'all for the word. Romans 1 and 3. Concerning his son, Yahushua HaMashiach, our master, which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh, and declared to be the son of Elohim with power, according to the Ruach of Kadesh, by the resurrection from the dead. So that means it was the spirit of Kadesh. We know what this man said. Let's just look at Romans chapter 7, because you know some they like to play that game. So we got to play that game. He said he was set apart by the spirit of Kadesh. We know that this is Yah's spirit that set him apart. We're going to come back to Job 34, probably about verse 7, because that's what coming to my mind. And I want Romans chapter 7. Let me see what verse it is that I desire. I want Romans 7 and 12. Then we'll swing back around here to Romans 8 and 1. I'm feeling good tonight. How y'all feeling? Y'all all right? I feel outstanding. I thank y'all for the word. It gets some stuff in line. You got to get stuff in order. Got to get stuff right, man. Don't play with your life out here, people. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to sit back, this just make me harken back to, and you know, we dealt with this before. You can go find the video. The name coming in my mind right now. The era of not listening to the man of Yah. All y'all got to remember, some of you who were present, especially, remember what happened to Catherine for not listening. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember what happened to Catherine for not listening? Y'all might sit kiki and laugh about it now, but y'all don't realize, look at the state she in now that happened, and all that came from is because she didn't listen. She didn't listen. Because, boy, y'all sit back and realize, boy, y'all could be sizing you up and trying you out on every cut and corner. You know what I'm saying? For those of you where he put it on your heart, like, boy, I'm dropping everything, boy, I'm fasting, I'm keeping Day of Atonement. You sit back, look at, okay, you did something. But what about the small stuff you getting tried on, this man tell you to do and you don't do it? Huh? What about that stuff? See, your balance is off, your judgment is off, your perception is off. Have a just weight and a just balance. Don't, you know what I'm saying? You can't sit back and look at, oh, I did the big stuff, but you ain't doing the little stuff, though. And you think he pleased with that. When he say an unjust weight, the unjust balance is an abomination in the eyesight of Yahuwah. You got to think about stuff like that. Romans 7:12. He say, wherefore the law is Kadesh, and the commandment Kadesh, just and good. That man just said that this man law and commandment was blameless and set apart. We know Hamashiach was blameless. Let's look at Job 34 and about 7, and let's see if the Almighty would commit iniquity then. Because we're looking at his essence. You're not saying that the Ruach HaKodesh is the law, but if you possess that, by nature you would keep what's written in the law to the T. Because that means Yah is dwelling in you and you dwelling in Yah. Hamashiach just said, as I live by the Father, even so you'll live by me. We already went over this last week. Hamashiach did everything his Father told him to do. So how you going to say the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh is dwelling in you, but you don't do what the Father do? Because we read that in John chapter 5 last week. The Son say what the Father do, the Son do likewise. The Son seen the Father rest on the seventh day. He did likewise. So how you not going to do it? The Son didn't commit sin. The Son didn't go after his own will. The Son didn't love. He didn't have hate in his heart. He didn't steal. He didn't lie. He didn't blaspheme. He wasn't malicious. He didn't covet. He wasn't disobedient. He wasn't rebellious. He wasn't stubborn. How you gonna do that? Does this even sound? These are none of these things are attributed to Yahuwah. None of these things are a part of his nature. You will have no power with Yah doing these things. It's impossible. You got people saying, get the Ruach HaKodesh, and no, you got to get that through the belief and the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. How can you get it? You ain't never heard it. How you gonna get it and you don't follow in his footsteps? You don't obey. It's impossible. Don't let nobody lie to you now. That's why I be telling y'all now. Y'all sitting around looking at other people think they stupid. Are you stupid? You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all like this here. Do you have Allstate? You know what I'm talking about? You got to look at it that way. Make it 34 and 5. Matter of fact, make it 4. Even better, 34 and 3. I just start at 1 because there's stuff coming to my mind as I'm looking at the page. Furthermore, Elihu answered and said, hear my words, O you wise men, give ear unto me, ye that have knowledge. For the ear try words as mouth tastes meat. What does that mean when he say the ear try words as a mouth tastes meat? The ear tries words as a mouth tastes meat. So you know, if the ear try words as a mouth tastes meat, that means if somebody was to give you a lamb chop, you could be able to tell if this a lamb. Somebody say, eat this meat, you blindfolded, right? Once you start to bite it, you would know if it was a lamb chop or a steak or a chicken breast. You know what I'm saying? So hold what you got. We'll get to Romans chapter 8. And we'll come back to 2 Peter chapter 2. 1 John, the first epistle of John, chapter 4 and verse 1. See, that's why you can't be around here be stupid, man. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of Elohim, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Brother Trad told me when he talked to a brother the other day, who listening to that dude we had been telling y'all about. He said, does the brother keep the dietary law? He said, I don't know. He said, how could you follow somebody you don't even know what they do? You know what I'm saying? You got to be real careful. You got to try the spirits. It's many false prophets going out in the world. It's many people out here telling you to do things contrary to the word of Yahuwah, to live contrary to the word of Yahuwah, to go after your lust, to do this or do that, whatever the case may be. That's why he say, as the ear tried words, as a man mouth tastes meat. You got to try. You supposed to already know it meat, because the man say, my flesh is meat indeed. He say, he that eat my flesh and drink my blood, eternal life will dwell in him. You already know, he say, take, eat, this is my body. Sitting back, lambs meat, flesh. You know, this talking about eating the word. You supposed to try that. When I'm talking about try that, meaning sit back, if you know the word, you ain't supposed to entertain everything. You know, we were just talking to little Stanley about this the other day. You know what I'm saying? Old Jehovah Witness came up to his door. And you supposed to already know what you believe in the doc and shut it down. You know what I'm saying? And shut it down. Because sometimes you can't entertain stuff. At the same time, it's a lot of people preaching the word. You got to try them. I'm talking about, it's them people done came to me and said, like, I was just trying to see where you was at. And you know what I told them? I ain't mad at you. You supposed to. You just think you just supposed to jump down and just listen to any and everybody who pick up the scriptures and go to talking? That's what people do, though. He say, hereby know ye the Ruach of Elohim. Every spirit that confess that Yahushua HaMashiach is come in the flesh is of Elohim. And every spirit that confess not that Yahushua HaMashiach is come in the flesh is not of Elohim. And that is the spirit of anti-Mashiach, where you have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. So I'm going to ask you something. How would somebody be able to confess that Yahushua HaMashiach came in the flesh? How would you be able to confess that? How would you be able to confess that, gentlemen? You just going to say he came in the flesh because he came? How you going to be able to confess that? How you going to be able to confess that? Romans chapter 10. Then we'll come back to Job 34. Romans chapter 10. Romans chapter 10 and about verse 8. But what saith it? The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. That is the word of faith which we preach. That if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Master Yahushua, and shalt believe in thy heart that Elohim have raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. For with the heart man believe unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. For the scripture saith, whosoever believe on him shall not be ashamed. For there is no difference between the Yahudim and the Greek, for the same master over all is rich unto all that call upon him. For whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahuwah shall be saved. How shall they call on him whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? Now I'm going to get to this in a minute about how you should be able to confess him in the flesh, because those of y'all who heard what we preached about yesterday, you should already knew. You should already knew. How you able to confess this man came in the flesh? Because you heard of him. How was you able to heard of him? Because you heard the word. That's how you able to confess he came in the flesh. That's how you able to do it. Not just sit back and say, he came. You understand what I'm telling you? He was here. Because he said, whosoever confess that Yahushua HaMashiach come in the flesh is of Elohim, right? The only way you could be able to confess that is if you believe that. The only way you would be able to believe that is if you heard the word. Because faith come by hearing, and hearing come by what? The word of Elohim. Come on back to Job 34. Do y'all follow me? Do you see what I'm talking about? You just can't tell somebody Yahushua came. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be able to know why he came. I know he came in the flesh. How you know? Because woo, 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 woo. That's how I know, nigga. Southside me like that. Especially even though we don't get involved with it. Some of y'all done heard it a couple times. Especially you got all these dudes, right? And Brother Sean know what I'm talking about. Always having these debates about the New Testament and this, that, there, and the other. And I don't get involved with them. But one day, if y'all see fit, he might have me get involved with these dudes. And Brother Sean know the dudes I'm talking about. I ain't talking about these Rudy Poot niggas. He know exactly who I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Dudes who people look at as real heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying? And I'll crash them niggas on general principle. On general principle. Because sometimes, just sometimes, as Paul said in Romans chapter 1, boy, you got to stand in defense of the gospel. You know what I'm talking about? Just like the epistle in Jude, he say, I encourage you to contend for the faith. That means to stand up and fight for it. Every now and then, you got to do that. Y'all follow what I'm talking about? I ain't talking about no arguing or debating or just like this, that. Every now and then, you got to defend that. The times y'all done heard me talk about this because we got to defend that. Because it's not very many men that can come out here and defend that. They got us, for some of these people, mind, it's to us, we serve a zombie. You know what I'm saying? That's how they think. Some people talk like this. Y'all idol worshipers. So every now and then, you know what I'm saying? I might have to put my good wallabies on. Some that ain't died. A nice leather pair, because I don't want it to get on my suede. Tie them up real tight and start kicking off in niggas' behinds. Matter of fact, we won't even pull no wallabies out because that would be a disservice and disrespect to them. We'd have to go get a nice pair of construction Timbs to drop off in these niggas' behind. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Every now and then, boy, you got to defend the faith, boy. You just can't let these transgressors just run their mouth. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes y'all ever been in a situation with people, you know what I'm saying, they ran their mouth and you ain't bust them in their mouth. But one day, boy, you just like to say, I just got to go ahead and hit you in your mouth just to let you know. I ain't the one to try. Wow. And guess what happened when you go ahead and fire off and hit him in the mouth? They don't talk no more, do them. 34 and 3. He say, for the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat. Listen to what he say. Let us choose to us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what is good. How else we gonna know what is good? Paul say the commandment and the law is just and good. Without it, I would have not known what sin was. He said, let us choose to us judgment. Let the word supposed to, that's what you supposed to choose. You supposed to choose the word. So then you can know amongst yourself what is good. That's why he said, and y'all will, I can fit all this stuff in. I got another 8 days to do it again. So praise ye Yah for Yahushua for that. But sit back and look at it, right? He say, do not be conformed to the image of this world, that you might prove the acceptable, just, and Kadesh will of Yah, right? So that means when the word dwell in you, then you would know what is good because you would have chose judgment. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to make wise decision making. See, that's what y'all not sitting back looking at. Y'all don't choose judgment and what is good. That's why you have an uncircumcised ear. That's why you hear something and you still go do what you want to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Because you're not choosing what is good. We're supposed to follow after that which is good. See, come over here to Romans chapter. Let me see if that's what I want. Let me see if Romans 8 got what I want. That ain't the one that I wanted. I got to find it what I wanted. You got to sit back and look at how many of y'all desire to follow after that which is good. If you follow after that which is good, how else are you going to be able to know what is good? That's the only way you're going to be able to know. So we got to sit, because he said, let us choose judgment. We know Yahuwah is an Elohim of what? Judgment. And his judgment is what? Righteous. Come over here to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. We just trying to get you right, man. Trying to help somebody out. Trying to help somebody out. It got to come a period of time, about 5 and 10. It got to come a period of time you just be tired of being stupid. Sometimes you just got to be tired of doing stuff the wrong way. You have to sit back and realize that some of y'all been doing certain things a particular way with no success, and you'll still try to do it as if it's gonna change. I done said that to y'all before. They say, I've been doing this like this here, and how that worked out for you, it hasn't, and you still gonna do it? That's just like me using, I put it to you in the simplest form. I used to deadlift with an overhand, underhand grip. That didn't work out well for me on the stress on my bicep. I felt like I would tear my bicep, and I wasn't able to pull as much weight as I liked. So you know what I did? I didn't keep pulling with an overhand, underhand grip. I pulled with double overhand grip. And you know what? I got more success. Just a simple adjustment. If you see that the particular way you've done things has not worked, that means it's time to do something else. Try to do it in a different fashion. Get a new modus operandi. Get a new strategy, because that strategy ain't working. That's just like watching a football team run the same plays and play calls and offensive system, and it don't work. You know what I'm saying? Call a different play, man. You know what I'm saying? Run a different style of offense. This is not working for you. Only a fool and an idiot will continue to do something that has not worked. That's the only thing I can look at. You got to be a special kind of stupid to keep doing something that don't work. Five and 10, make it 9. He say, for Elohim have not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our master Yahushua HaMashiach, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Keep that in mind. If we die or sleep, we should live together with him. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the master, and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourselves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men. See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Hold on, I think it's Philippians chapter 4 that I want to. Come over here to Philippians. I think I'll send it in Philippians chapter 4 that I want to. 4 and 6. Do you see what he told you to do? Whichever that is good, follow that. Because he said it's good for you to choose judgment and to know what is good. The only way you're going to know what is good is you're going to have to hear the word. Some of y'all know what is good and still do what you want to do. How is that possible? You know what some of y'all problem is? Y'all don't think before you do stuff. Y'all don't think about, you don't sit back and look at how stuff going to look when you do it. Look, let me tell y'all something. There's a fine line in not caring what people say and think, and then actually caring how you're going to be perceived by your actions and your words. You know what I'm saying? There's a fine line between the two. Because you can live your life, and if people say certain things, okay, I don't care what they say and think about me. But then you could do something that can be perceived to be so badly, and you look at it as, I don't care what they think. And in that situation, you should. Because now that's making you look bad. It could ruin your reputation. You know what I'm saying? I done told y'all before, man, the number one thing you got in this life is your name, and you got to guard it. The book tell you a good name is better than jewels. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep your name and face clean. Now, if people just lying on you, that's one thing. But you can get your name dirty by the stuff you do, because you're not perceiving and you're not looking at how it can be received. How can it come across? You're not looking at what you're doing. Because you know why you don't look at what you're doing? Because you're only concerned about what you want. So it doesn't matter. That's not adult thinking. That's how little kids think. That's how carnal people think. You're supposed to be a spiritual being. You're supposed to be moving to become a spiritual minded individual. You can't think that way. Y'all don't think that way. You know what I'm saying? How many times have you seen him admonish people for sitting back looking at, hold up. You got me looking bad. I don't stamp that. I don't go for that. He told you that in the 36th chapter of the book of the prophet Ezekiel. He said, you done profaned my name among the heathen everywhere you went. Got me looking bad out here. You know what I'm saying? Because you were not taking heed to what you were doing and how it looked. Because you didn't care. Long as I got what I wanted. That is a hallmark of a nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's not the hallmark of a man. That's not the hallmark of a woman. That's not the hallmark of an upright individual, a righteous person, a spiritual-minded person. That's the hallmark of a nigga. A low-down, dirty individual, a carnal-minded individual, the mind of a child. Because, you know, children don't care about nothing as long as they get what they want, though. They don't care. They don't care how anybody go. They could fall out in the middle of the store, throw a tantrum. That's got to be the most obnoxious kid I ever seen. Them kids don't care nothing about that. I got that lollipop, though. So I don't care what you think. I got these shoes, though. I got this, though. That's what I'm sitting here telling you. Immature minded, immature thinking. Some of y'all hear stuff, y'all react strictly off your emotions. You're immature. You know what I'm saying? 4 and 6, though. 4 and 5, actually. Let your moderation be known unto all men. Hamashiach is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto Elohim. And the peace of Elohim, which pass all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Yahushua HaMashiach. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there any be praise, think on these things. Those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me do. And the Elohim of peace shall be with you. Don't that sound like what Elihu is telling him? Ain't this the same thing he telling them? Why don't you choose judgment and you let it be known amongst yourself that which is good? It's not the Apostle Paul saying the exact same thing. So that means y'all got to start thinking on the things, just like he told you. I'm going to read it to you again. The things that are true, the things that are honest, the things that are just, the things that are pure, the things that are lovely, the things that are of good report, and any virtue and praise. You need to think on them things before you react, before you speak, before you do. This is what Elihu is telling Job. Come on back to the 34th chapter of Job. Is that not what he's telling him? I think that's what he's telling him. Ain't nobody working with me. So I guess that's what I guess I just talk to myself. That's what he's telling them, though. I'm going to read verse 3 and 4 for you again now. For the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat. That's just what Paul said in them. The things you done heard and received and seen in me do. Let us choose to us judgment and let us know among ourselves what is good. That's what he was telling them when he was telling them whatever those things are, you need to think on them things. Then you'll know that these things are good because you done heard the word and you done tried that meat. When you done tried that meat, or as a mouth tastes meat, you done tried them words as a mouth tastes meat, and you'll sit back and realize, boy, that was good. That was good. Some of y'all know how that is. Somebody brings some meat to you for the first time, see that thing, bring that thing to you, take, well, that thing, that was good. You know what I'm saying? Boy, you supposed to look at the word like this here, man. Boy, he told you in the prophet Jeremiah, say, I opened my mouth wide. He said, I feel it. You know what I'm saying? Boy, Job said in the 29th chapter, I think about the 14th verse, somewhere in there. He said, boy, I esteemed your word more than my necessary food. That's how he looked at the word. It was meat for him. I tasted it. It's good for me. I tried that. So when I tried it, I took to myself, I looked and said, you know what? I'm going to choose judgment, and I'm going to know amongst myself what is good. Y'all got to look at that. Verse 5, for Job hath said, I am righteous, and Elohim have taken away my judgment. Shall I lie against my right? My wound is incurable without transgression. What you think that means, my wound is incurable without transgression? Y'all got an idea what he could mean? My wound is incurable without transgression. Let's look at verse 7 then. What man is like Job, who drink up scorning like water, which go into company with the workers of iniquity and walk with wicked men? For he hath said, it profit a man nothing that he should delight himself with Elohim. Therefore hearken unto me, ye men of understanding. Far be it from Elohim that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should commit iniquity. So we already know if the Ruach HaKodesh is the divine nature of Yahuwah, we know he ain't committing no sin, doing no wickedness then, is it? Then we know a Mashiach ain't do none either, did he? And if we know iniquity is lawlessness, that means that's going to get the man law. Boy, you going to hell. Sitting there lying, talking about you got that man's spirit breaking the man's laws. But back to what he said here in this 5th verse, because I'm not glossing over that. That man, this 6th verse, that man said, my wound is incurable without transgression. What do you think that means? His wound is incurable without transgression. This wound can't be cured without transgression. My wound is incurable without transgression. You know what I'm saying? For him to order to be healed, right, he had to become sin, didn't it? Then that wound could be cured. You know what I'm saying? See, you turn around and you sitting back looking at, you got sin and your wound it's not curable. Remember, he was wounded for our transgressions. You know what I'm talking about? So he could be able to be cured of that. Because remember, he said that in a couple places. He said, ain't no ill anointments, ain't no balm in Gilead. You know what I'm talking about? See, we sitting back looking at something, man. This man's wound was incurable without transgression. He had to become that sin to get that wound cured. Now, this man has cured this wound on your behalf and became transgression on your behalf. You got to learn to start uncircumcising your ear, and then you can be able to uncircumcise your heart, and then you can be able to walk in perfection as you ought to. Y'all got to learn that you can't do what you want to do. Just because you want to do something, and then you've been told to do it in particular fashion, don't mean you go do what you want to do anyway. That's gross stupidity when it comes to this. When it comes to this word, and you say you're going to follow this word, then you got to do what you're told. You can't sit back and look at, I want what I want. Because I'm sitting here telling y'all, man, I done told y'all this before, and I'm going to give this warning to every single solitary individual that can hear the sound of my voice. If you're told not to do something and you do the opposite, I'm willing to put large amounts of money that whatever you seeking to go do, one or two things is going to happen. It's going to crumble and destroy and blow up right in your face. Or Yahuwah is going to let you have that to be a snare and a trap to take you to hell. One of the two. One of the two. Do not think all you got to do is look at Saul. He was told to do one thing and he went and did another. It's not going to work out well for you when you are told to do something explicitly and then go back and do something else. Second Peter chapter 2. Because I know something. Yeah, it's no way in the world. It's not going to be able to happen. It's not going to be able to happen. It's not going to be able to happen. Your sins lie at your right hand. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to confess them. You know what I'm saying? If you don't confess your sins, how's that wound going to be incurable? Because you're saying you don't have no transgression. You know what I'm saying? See, matter of fact, like this here. First epistle John and about verse 7. Make it 5. Oh, you cold them up? This then is the message which we have heard of him and declare unto you, that Elohim is light and in him is no darkness at all. If we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another, and the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, his son, cleanses us from all sin. If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. If we say that we have not sinned, we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. Do you know if you got a wound, what do you do with a wound? But when you tend to it, what's the first thing you do with a wound? You clean it out. Do you not realize in the 15th chapter of John, about the 3rd verse of Mashiach, say, you are clean from the word that I have spoken unto you? You clean the wound out, and then you put the healing ointment in it. You know what I'm saying? To do what? To close the wound. Well, you're not going to be able to close that wound if you're not going to be able to acknowledge your wrongdoing. That's one thing. In due time, everybody going to have to do that one. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of y'all ain't going to want to do it. Because you know you've been doing a lot of retarded stuff. And I ain't talking about no stuff you did in your teens or in your 20s. I'm talking about stuff you done did since you called yourself dealing with this word. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Come on back to 2 Peter. I hope ain't none of you niggas around here talking about y'all done slept with somebody wild. Low down, dirty dog. Some of y'all probably be sitting around thinking about, shoot, the world looking real nice right now. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, sit back, look at it. Some of the stuff y'all be going after, that's what you saying, though. It's looking real nice right now. It's looking real nice right now. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. Some of y'all be like this here, man. Ain't nobody looking, boy. I'm finna smoke me a fat doobie. Got a fat bottle of liquor. And then got him a fresh pack of Cadillacs. Breath smell like 3 ashtrays. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all be around here, ain't nobody looking, you ain't gonna bathe. Some of you niggas probably only bathe when you gotta come around another person. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all might only bathe when you come around us. Might not even wash your clothes on a regular basis. All got all manner of just bodily fluid and stains in it, make a grown man cringe. You know what I'm saying? Not for real though. Cause that's how some of y'all look at it. But if you feel like, shoot, I ain't gotta come around the family, you know what I'm saying? Then shoot, you do you. You get around everybody else, then you want to put your like the people say, you got your church face on. You know what I'm saying? Get my set apart face on. Nigga say, no, nigga, I smell doo-doo over here, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? No, I hope ain't nobody, I would hope everybody bathe and wash their clothes. But that's an analogy just sit there saying, using an example of, because unfortunately, people do that. If they know, okay, I ain't gonna see certain people, like I see a meme where people got somebody poking through the blinds talking about when you looking to see what somebody posted on Facebook so you can go and tell pastor. You know what I'm saying? Because some people look like this here, man. It ain't no different than this way right here. Ain't nothing different. You know what I'm saying? That you feel like if you ain't around other members of the family, then you gonna act a particular way. When you know ain't nobody gonna see you, then you actually be you and do the stuff that you do. You know what I'm saying? I would hope that y'all ain't none of y'all nasty enough not to bathe. Or bathe when you feel like you gonna see somebody and you need to bathe. I'll tell y'all something now. Ain't no grown man or woman, y'all ain't got no business walking around here musky and stank. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nobody should be walking past you, you talking about you a Yahoo demon, they talking about I smell B.O. You know what I'm saying? That should not happen. Ever. The only time it could be acceptable, man, you got to be lit. And you shouldn't be stank before you start lifting. You should be stank after. And then you should be rushing home, not trying to have any human contact because you don't even want anybody to catch you down bad like that. Somebody walk around here think they smelling a dead possum. You know what I'm saying? You gotta sit back and look at you a grown man or woman, man. Your clothes supposed to stay washed. You know what I'm saying? You ain't supposed to wait till you got 3-4 pairs of drawers left. And if you ain't got enough pairs of drawers, then go buy some more. Till you can wash your clothes. You ain't got enough tank tops left, go buy some more. You ain't got enough socks, go buy some more. Or you can take it real poor man style and clean your clothes out in the sink. You know what I'm saying? But you need to do something. You know what I'm saying? Need to do something. That's for real though, man. You gotta sit back and look at that, man. If you're gonna be some way, it's about consistency. Be the same all the time. If you want to receive a man's spirit, you got to put a consistent string of clean living together over a consistent, extended period of time. You know what I'm saying? Y'all looking for 3 months and 4 months. If I just don't sin for 3 months, maybe I'll be good. Can't think that way. Got to ride it on out. 2 Peter chapter 2. 2 Peter chapter 1. My apologies. And about verse 4. Whereby, so as we see how his spirit pertains to life and godliness, which is what we were looking at, how his spirit pertains to life, we looked at one thing, and then being set apart. So we're in verse 4, whereby we are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these you might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue. You know what that means to be virtuous, right? It's to be pure. We know from Psalms 33, the word of Elohim is pure. You know what I'm saying? It's clean. Going right back to that thing to clean that wound out. So he said, you need to learn what's clean. So you need to learn Yah. Then he say, and to virtue, knowledge. That means you need to get the knowledge of Yah. You need to get the knowledge of his laws, his statutes, his commandments. But most importantly, you need the knowledge of Yahushua HaMashiach. And then when you begin to apply those laws, those statutes and commandments with that faith, you can be able to confess that he came in the flesh. He's saying to knowledge, temperance, which means self-control. It says Yah is slow to anger. That means he got self-control. Just because he angry don't mean he gonna do something. He can control himself. And to temperance, patience. And to patience, godliness. That means you got to know how to wait on y'all. See, you know what some of y'all problem is? Y'all ain't got no patience. Y'all ain't got no patience. That's how I know y'all spirit ain't in you, because you ain't got no patience. You can't wait for nothing. You got to do it right then. I want it right now. I want it right now. I can't wait. I can't wait. Spirit of Yah not in you. Because if it was, you can wait. That's the divine nature. Does this not say this what's a part of the divine nature? So if you don't possess patience, you ain't. Don't you realize that Yah sat back for 430 years with much patience before he delivered his people up out of Mizraim? Do you realize the patience he had to exude and exhort to the people in the time it took before he actually sent Hamashiach in the flesh? You got to have patience. That's an attribute of Yah. If you can't wait, you ain't got no patience. That means you are not of Yah. He's not in you. You seeking to become of Yah. So that means you seeking for Yah to dwell in you. If you can't wait, Yah's not in you. If you like this here, something come up, you got to wait 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, 150 days. You can't wait. That's a problem. That means showing if you can't wait, if you don't have the patience, that means that's also showing you have no self-control. You know what I'm saying? So that's a problem. That's why I was sitting back telling you about that's why I couldn't deal with a rash or impulsive woman, because I got self-control. You know what I'm saying? I got to have a woman who has self-control. You know what I'm saying? It can't be one of us got self-control and one of us is impulsive, because this ain't gonna mix. You know what I'm saying? Some people, it can work out because one person keep the other person in check. You know what I'm saying? But y'all might hear me say certain things, but in actuality, I am a very conservative individual and always have been. You know what I'm saying? I got to have the same thing with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very conservative individual. I'm a very calculated individual. I need a woman who can think. You know what I'm saying? If she can't think, can't do nothing with her. You know what I'm saying? She got to have some patience. She got to be able to control. Cause I can't deal with that. Because that's going to frustrate me. You know what I'm saying? And if that's going to frustrate me, I'm going to get rid of you. See, that's what I mean when I was telling y'all earlier. You got to know what you want, what you don't want. Because once you see something isn't what you want, then you know you can move away from it. Because I already know that will frustrate me. And if that's going to frustrate me, that means me and that woman will not be able to dwell in peace clearly. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know like with one thing with T, she had one hampering thing. You know what I'm saying? Because of situation when she felt like she didn't do it, then it coming to mind she had to do it. And that was, you got to watch your tone when you talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't talk to me like a woman's supposed to talk to a man, that's going to frustrate me. That's going to frustrate me. You're going to infuriate me. And if you infuriate me, you're not going to want to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Because any of you women know if you done spoke to me and your tone get up, the conversation will not proceed. If I do not like your tone of voice, the conversation will not proceed. It ain't got nothing to do with what you saying. It's got to do with how you saying it. You know what I'm talking about? And I will not let you get a single solitary word out your mouth until you straighten that tone, because I'm not with it. You know what I'm saying? You're not finna talk to me like that. Not no woman. You supposed to be a woman. Woman don't talk to no man loose and reckless out the mouth like that. You can see two men go back and forth, man, voice be loud, this, that, then, the other. It would be no animosity because that's a man. He could speak to me with a little bit of force because that's a man. That don't bother. But a woman is never supposed to talk to a man like that. I find that contemptible. I'm talking about before the word. A woman get loud and talk nasty and crazy and sideways to a man. And that's I'm telling you, man, I never forget it. When I came in my homeboy Melvin house when I had just got out of jail for something, man. And I walked in there, man. And my homeboy Gene was in there, man. And Rondisha Marie was in there, man. And I walked in that room. I didn't know her yet. It was my first time ever seeing her at the time. Boy, I walked in there, man. She cussing him out. B.A. nigga, P.A. nigga, screw you. Whoop, cussing him out. I'm like, my God. I say, bro, you gonna let her talk to you like that? Man, that hoe crazy. I say, no, nigga, you crazy. You know what I'm saying? How should you even let that woman talk to you like that? I'm talking about if a man sitting around seeing you letting a woman talk to you like that, he ain't finna have no respect. He know you's a coward. Cause you ain't gotta put your hands on them. You ain't got to call them out their name. You ain't got to do none of that crazy retarded stuff right there. But you supposed to let that woman know I am a man. You cannot talk to me like that. You cannot talk to me like that. I say, boy, that nigga that crazy. She told me later on down the line, she say, shoot, man, I ain't know how to respect a man. I thought that's what you were supposed to do. I say, yeah, I hear you. I say, he better than me. Cause boy, I'd have fired you on the spot. On the spot. There was no way I could have continued dealing with a woman if she talked to me like that. For one reason and one reason alone, because I would never talk to her like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't call women out their name. I'm not finna call you all that. I ain't finna be calling you all these hoes and female dogs and all the time. I'm not finna talk to you like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna cuss you out and I'm not finna do all of that. So you're not finna do me like that. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why. But when you sit back and look at, some dudes will sit back and they like a woman talking like that. I never liked a woman who cussed too much. I cuss enough for the both of us. I don't need you doing it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really like a woman who drank. If she drank, I ain't want to mess with her. I definitely didn't like a woman who did drugs. When I say drugs, I ain't talking about marijuana. And I was skeptical about a woman who smoked marijuana because I know how dudes roll. That's their way in. See, y'all women so lame and naive. Y'all don't realize a man look for any way in that he feel like he can work his way in or trying to get in your drawers. If you drink, hey, you want to I can go get a bottle. You smoke. You want to smoke one with me? That's their way in because they feel like if I can smoke a joint with you, I can get you engaged in conversation. Because most people when they smoke, they just don't sit there and be quiet. You know what I'm saying? They having a discourse, they talking. And like people used to say in the streets, conversation rule the nation. And some people conversation good. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, you around here butt naked with your booty in there, you don't even realize how you got there. Nigga done talked you right up out of it because it's smooth. That's why the words say you better watch somebody who words smooth as butter. You know what I'm talking about? Say war and it's hard. Y'all don't look at that type of stuff though. Y'all don't consider that. Y'all don't consider that. Y'all don't even sit back and look at that. As women, y'all really supposed to be on top of that. Especially when y'all dealing with a man. Y'all watch that stuff, all that smooth talk. You know what I'm saying? Man, whatever. I hear you. It sounds nice. I appreciate it. I like it. It's nice and all. I ain't finna be a fool and go jump off the deep end about it. You know what I'm saying? Just like same way, so a woman come flat up, you're so great, you're a perfect man, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you don't even know me, cuz. You don't even know me, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been one for that. Somebody come flattering me, man. You don't even know me. Nigga, you don't know me in 7 days, nigga. Know me in a month. You know what I'm saying? For you to be coming at me like that, nigga, you want something. So I'm sitting in my mind thinking, here, what do you want? And I'm waiting for you to come after what you want. Because you got to want something. You know what I'm saying? I know T don't like for me to be like that there, because you like, don't be so jaded like that there, boy. I'm from Duval County. I gotta think that way. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to show me. I done dealt with women, man. I ain't buying nothing. You'd have to earn that. You know what I'm saying? You have to earn that the way I feel like, okay, I can buy you something because I know that you ain't just trying to get something up out of me. I feel comfortable enough to do that. Boy, some of y'all will get with a woman just start buying her stuff off the rip. We call that suckers where I'm from. You's a sucker. I ain't buying you nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Barely want to take you out to eat. Because I don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't trust. Boy, I'm just like Nino Brown. What did he say? But Nino don't trust nobody. Boy, I don't trust you, man. I don't know you, man. You can have all type of agendas. I got to let time prove y'all. You can have some people you'd be like, you know what? They ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? I know they ain't like that. So your guard don't be as high. I'm still watching you. But it's not as high because I can tell that's good people. You know what I'm saying? Some people you can just tell that's good people. You know what I'm saying? Some people you like, you know what? I don't know about that person right there. I'm going to just have to see. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You just keep it to yourself though. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to tell nobody else. Or this, that, you just keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's sometimes you can look at stuff. I tell T all the time. You thought, man, I could think about, see somebody and think all type of stuff, man. I just keep it to me. I let time prove it out. I always want to hope for the best that somebody do certain things, but you still got to show me though. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, you're a bit messed up in the game, man. You get messed up in the game, man. Oh, boy. Where we at here about 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 7? It say, into godliness, brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness, charity. You know what? That's that love. That's what he told his disciples in the 13th chapter of John. He said, man, this is the commandment I give you, that you have love one for another like I have for you, because he showed brotherly kindness. Hamashiach showed that. He showed that when he had compassion on the multitudes and fed them. He showed that when he healed the blind and the lame and the sick. He showed that brotherly kindness. And he said, in the last thing, charity or love, his love for Yah, to obey Yah and to keep his laws, his statutes, his commandments, and his charge. He showed that. So listen to the next thing he say. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach. But he that lack these things is blind and cannot see far off, and forgotten that he was purged from his old sins. So do you realize when you lack self-control, patience, being set apart, loving your brother, loving Yah, having knowledge, being clean, you can't even see. That means your sins are still at your right hand and your wound is incurable without that transgression. It's still there. It ain't gone. Do you follow me? Y'all got to think about that stuff and weigh that stuff in your mind, and just don't be walking around here stupid. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we went through all of that because he said to be fruitful, right? And you know how to end up to be fruitful, right? Except the corn of wheat fall on the ground and what? Die. He said, well, it abide alone. But if it die, it bring forth much fruit. And to thank y'all for Yahushua, how we had to bring it all the way back. And didn't I tell you we were going to talk about some of this harvest stuff? What we were talking about Wednesday, you see how he worked. That's why he took us here. 2 Samuel 23, verse 5. Some of y'all done already heard it, but some of y'all have not. But you will get some of it tonight, We probably won't hit everything because I talked to them for about 4 hours yesterday. You know what I'm saying? On a multitude of different things, not just the word, but other stuff, period. And 2 Samuel 21, make it verse 3. And it says, wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, what shall I do for you? Wherewith shall I make atonement that you may bless the inheritance of Yahuwah? Now let's back up here to verse 1 so y'all can know what's going on. There was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year. David inquired of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah answered, it is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. I don't want the men who heard it yesterday to speak. Do any of you brothers know who the Gibeonites are and why they are important? So that means Corey, Stanley, and Troy, you hold your peace. Anybody know who the Gibeonites are and why they're important? Any brother on here know who the Gibeonites are and why they are important? Anybody? Somebody got to know. Don't nobody know. You don't know. All right. Well, let's go to Joshua, Yahusha, chapter 9, and let's begin to look at the story of the Gibeonites. And maybe we can help you out a little bit. 9 and 2. Boy, what that is, boy? Boy, that was somebody yawning? Sound like an old woman. Say you all right? No, I'm just messing with you, man. Y'all all right? 9 and 2. Matter of fact, it says they gathered themselves together to fight with Yahusha and with Yasharal with one accord. Because it came to pass, it was kings on the side of Jordan, hills and the valleys, they came to fight. And then this, that, there, and the third. You can look at that in the first verse. And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Yahusha had done in Jericho and to Ai, they did work wildly, and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses and wine bottles old and rent and bound up. Listen what he told them. Old sacks and wine bottles that are old and rent, and old shoes and clouded upon their feet, and old garments upon them, and all the bread of their provisions was dry and moldy. And they went to Yahusha unto the camp at Gilgal, and he said unto him, and to the men of Yasharal, we be come from a far country. Now therefore make ye a league with us. Y'all know what it means to make a league with somebody? You know what I mean? That means to make a covenant with them, make an agreement with them, make a contract with them. Kind of what it's to sit back in your mind is in 1929, they made the League of Nations, which was the forerunner to the United Nations. Or like the Justice League, a group of people who are in agreement with one another. And it says, and the men of Yasharal said unto the Hivites, peradventure ye dwell among us, how shall we make a league with you? And they said unto Yahusha, we are thy servants. Listen what he said. Listen to what they said to the man. We are thy servants. And Yahusha said unto them, who are ye, and from whence come ye? And they said unto him, we from a very far country thy servants are come, because of the name of Yahuwah thy Elohim, for we have heard of the fame of him and all that he did in Mizraim. Why is this important? Why is that important, what we just read? Why is that important? Think about it now before you speak. And I don't want those who heard it yesterday to speak on nothing that we finna look at in Joshua chapter 9 and 2 Samuel 21. I want every man on here who did not hear that. I'm talking to y'all. So that means you need to unmute your phone and don't be scared to answer wrong or right. Why is that important of what this man just said in this 9th chapter of the book of Yahusha in the 9th verse? Why is that important? And they had it. You already said, we heard of your fame. So you know what that is? Faith come by hearing, and hearing come by, they heard the word and believed and said, let's make it. So let's, guess what? Come over here, hold what you got in Joshua chapter 9, swing over here to Romans chapter 2. So you got to remember, did them Gibeonites have any law? No. No. You got to remember, they said they came from a far country. They were saying, make a league with us, make a covenant with us. So you know they ain't heard no law. This is Yahushua, son of Nun, coming up out of the wilderness, leading the people out of the wilderness into the land. Them people had already got the law. The Gibeonites weren't with them. Look at Romans chapter 2. And look at verse 25. He say, for circumcision truly profit if thou keep the law. Matter of fact, I want to drop down a little lower. 2 and 13. Make it 14, my apologies. 2 and 14. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience, and also bearing witness, and their thoughts the mean, while accusing also, or accusing or else excusing one another. In the day when Elohim shall judge the secrets of men by Yahushua HaMashiach according to my gospel. Do you see how they kept the righteousness of the law? They heard of the fame and said, we heard what Yah did for you in Mizraim. You can also go look in the 13th chapter of the book of Acts, and you see them Gentiles, when they heard the preaching of Yahushua HaMashiach and seeing what he did for them when he brought them out of Egypt or out of bondage or out of sin or out of death, they heard it and believed and say, can we hear this word again so you can make a league with us or make a covenant with us? You understand what I'm telling you? Them people heard and believed and say, we got to get down. Romans 11. Let me make sure that's what I want. Matter of fact, don't worry about Romans 11. Come on back to Joshua. Do you see what I'm saying? So you got to understand something. So what is the righteousness that the Gibeonites just manifested right here? They manifested faith, and they said, we are thy servants. They saying, we are thy servants. This is what they saying to Yahushua. This is what they saying to Yahushua, son of Nun. So you know this is what these Gentiles, when he coming down later in the back end of this book, we are your servants. We're coming to serve you. What you tell us to do, that's what we shall do. But you know, he looked at him and said, who are you? And where you come from? You know what I'm saying? Which take you back to what? Matthew 15 with that Phoenician woman. You know what I'm saying? Or that Canaanite woman. Who are you? Where you come from? I'm not sent, but to the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal. I don't know. Who are you? 9 and 10. And all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon, the king of Heshbon, and to Og, the king of Bashan, which was at Ashtaroth. Wherefore our elders and all our inhabitants of our country spake to us, saying, take victuals with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say unto them, we are your servants. Therefore now make ye a league with us. This our bread we took hot for our provisions out of our own houses on the day we came forth to go unto you. But now, behold, it is dry and moldy. And these bottles of wine which we filled were new, and behold, they be rent. And these our garments and our shoes are become old by reason of the very long journey. Now, why is that important, gentlemen? Or what you just heard them say? You got it. He say the wine that we brought was new, but now it's rent. The clothes that we brought is old, were new, now they told. What did come to y'all mind, gentlemen, when you hear this? Anybody? Any? Let's look at Luke chapter 5. Absolutely. Luke chapter 5, verse 36. And he spake also a parable unto them. No man put a piece of a new garment upon an old. If otherwise, then both the new make rent, and the piece that was taken out of the new agree not with the old. And no man put new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottle shall perish. But new wine must be put into new bottles, and both are preserved. No man having drunk old wine straightway desire the new, for he saith the old is better. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, and about verse 17. Because you know the brothers who been following that one man, that's what they screaming, we supposed to be new creatures. Troy, that's what he told you, we supposed to be new creatures. Well, to be a new creature, you got to get a new mind. You know what I'm saying? See, and it's also going to these brothers who always blaspheming the Mashiach. See, they say, I don't want the new. See, the old is better. See, the old wasn't better. Get you Romans 10 and 21 to go along with this 2 Corinthians 5 and 17 that we about to read. Make it 16. Make it 15. Matter of fact, make it 14. He say, for the love of Hamashiach constrain us. That's going back this here. Self-control. If you love this man, you should be able to control yourself in every avenue, even controlling yourself from doing the things that you have been told not to do, even when you want to do them. You know what I'm saying? The love that you would have for the Son, that love for Hamashiach would constrain you. It would rein you in. Because we thus judge that if one died for all, then we're all dead. And if he died for all, that they which live should not henceforth live unto themselves, but unto him which died for them and rose again. That's what some of y'all problem is. You live for yourself. You don't live for him. That's what a lot of y'all problem is. You live for, insert your name here. You don't live for the Son of Elohim. You try to convince yourself that you do. You know what I'm saying? But in actuality, you don't. Because you have not considered that if he died for all, that you should be dead and no longer live to your desires, going back to what the Apostle Peter wrote, that's saying that he's able to make us a partaker of the divine nature who have escaped the corruption of the world through lust. You're supposed to be escaping the damnation and the rigor mortis or the decaying of this present world that's just gonna make these people die through their desires. See, y'all desires is what's gonna get y'all in trouble, no matter what you desiring. Because when we talk about lust don't always mean your penis and your vagina. You understand what I'm telling you? It doesn't always mean that. And that's the first thing that comes to your mind, you know that's the thing you got a problem with. See, if you know you got a problem with something, as I told y'all numerous times before, you shouldn't put yourself in them situations and circumstances then, now should you? You know if you're not strong enough and wise enough to deal with certain stuff, you shouldn't even do it, period. Don't fool with it. That's wisdom. That's what I'm be trying to tell y'all sometimes. Just because you can do something don't mean you should do it. That's wisdom. Because you ain't ready for that at this present time. Don't mean you will never be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to look at this your soul. Why would you put yourself in adverse situations? You know what I'm saying? In situations that you know could be detrimental to you just because, well, it ain't a sin if I do it. But it's not going to be good for you though. Where's your patience? You know what I'm saying? Where is that at? You know what I'm saying? Man, I've exercised and learned patience in many different ways in my 35 years of living. Some by choice and some because I had no other choice but to. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's better to just wait. I done told you I done been in a situation where I could have did a lot of things, but I didn't do them. And I ain't sit back and look at it, well, it's not a sin if I do it. I just know it's just not good for me to do it. You know what I'm saying? You got to have wisdom. You got to, your mind got to mature. You know what I'm saying? You got to stop being so simple. You know what I'm saying? You can't be so simple. When I'm saying simple in this time, I ain't talking about stupidity simple. I'm talking about being simple-minded, being one-track-minded, looking at life in 1D instead of 3D. When I'm talking about simple, I'm talking about happy-go-lucky, ho-hum. I'm just, hey, you can't think that way. You can't think 1D in a 3-dimensional world. You can't think that way. You got to be able to see all things from all sides. When you can see all things from all sides, then you can make a practical and wise decision. You just can't sit back and look. Your thought process and the things that you do is, well, it's not a sin. That when you think that tells me you simple. Because that's going to be your rationale for doing stuff. It's not a sin. The same way I was talking to Corey earlier, I was telling him, that's a simple way of thinking, to sit back and think, I want to marry her. Why? Because she's a woman of Yah. Really? That's the best you could come up with? Why you want to marry? He's a man of Yah. That's the best you could come up with? Anybody who in this way, common sense would say that you want a man or woman of Yah. And it's not the first time y'all done heard me say that. It isn't the first time I ever said it to y'all. So you already know that's a simple, that's retarded. In all actuality, that's a given. How could you say you seeking to be or are a Kodeshim and you don't want to marry another Kodeshim? You want a sinner. So that's common sense. I know off the rip, obviously, you're going to want to marry that person because they walk in the word. Why else? That's a given. But you ain't got nothing else. That's the first thing you come up with? Oh, you's an idiot. You know what I'm saying? You're immature. A mature person will know full well why they would want to marry somebody. They would know why. That stomach's all messed up. You know what I'm saying? But hey, let me finish this out. I'm telling you, man, be mature in your thinking. You mature in your thinking, things will be better. Things will be smoother. I promise it will. I'm talking about even in the natural. You know what I'm saying? Even in the natural. Not even just looking at stuff in the spiritual, just in the natural. If you make more mature decisions and think on a more mature plane, I guarantee you, man, you'll have less problems. You know what I'm saying? Less conflict, less struggles. All this stuff, man. Stuff will go smoother. Y'all grown. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all this here because, boy, y'all see my mama now. And y'all have no idea. That was a hard. Y'all might have been laughing like this here, but that's a true story, man. Man, my mouth is bleeding. My face is bleeding. I got splits and cuts all over my face. And my mama like this here, stop crying. You'll be all right. My mama was hard, man. You know what I'm saying? Hard. Like Fat Boy say, man, she'll come through and looking at them like she'll whoop all my homeboys. She was hard. She ain't played no games, ain't cut no corners. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't finna be walking around here thinking like no idiot. You know what I'm saying? And my auntie was kind of the same way. She just went about it in a different fashion. You know what I'm saying? Mom Dukes was hard with it. Auntie had a little bit more finesse. You know what I'm saying? She had a little bit more finesse. They was exactly the same. They just went about it different. See, they wasn't as hard on you though. You know what I'm saying? They was hard on me though. When you came, they got soft. I ain't tell you no lie. When Lil Muffin came, they got soft. You know what I'm saying? They got soft. You know what I'm saying? They got soft. But they wasn't soft with me. You know what I'm saying? But my auntie had more finesse. So dealing with my mama, I seen the direct, hardcore approach, and then I seen the finesse approach, because that's what my auntie came with. She would come down and sit with you and say the same exact thing my mama said, but she'll say it in a way where you just want to do it. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about, and Ben done went off on you too. But for some reason, you don't even feel that bad about yourself. You just want to do exactly what she told you to go do. And she been done went off on you in the same fashion. Just did it different. Just did it different. You know what I'm saying? So when you brought up that way, that caused a sense of maturity to come in your brain, because they were dead serious about that. I was the oldest. You know what I'm saying? They knew my cousin and Lil Muffin. They looked up to me. They listened to me. They watched what I did. They knew this. And they were relentless on, boy, you got to be smarter than what you're doing. You got to do this. You got to do this. At the same time, they laid out strict and direct parameters on exactly what they wanted me to do and how they wanted me to do it. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't wake up and expect me to do nothing. They showed me exactly what they want that I was supposed to do. And then at a period of time, they know now it's got to get to a point of time where you know it's certain things you need to know how to do without me telling you, and be self-motivated and disciplined enough to get up and go do it. You know what I'm saying? So I thank y'all for that. See, I know everybody didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? My mama and auntie ain't play no games with me. All they did was create a monster. Then y'all be wondering why you be like, boy, that nigga kid's gonna be hard. Because I'll be hard on them and finesse them. That's why I tell you, and I got that from my mama and my auntie, because they were both like that. That's why I tell you, and one of y'all don't talk no baby talk to my kids, because that actually came from my people. We didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? My mama didn't do that. My auntie didn't do that. They were like, you don't talk to them kids like that. She's like, it's a stunt, they development, this, that, then the third. We don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Talk to them like they grown. She like, they understand what you're saying. That's why you don't see me and my sister do that now. You know what I'm saying? We can sit back, play with them, talk to kids, talk to you like you're grown. Boy, I remember my homeboy seeing me with my cousin Sean. He was about 5 at the time. He said, boy, you talking to him like he's 17. I say, you see he following what I'm talking about though. Because my cousin don't do it either. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that stuff. We weren't raised to do that. We weren't taught to do that. That's why you don't talk to them like that. You're crafting a mind. You're molding a mind. You know what I'm saying? Our people was dead serious about that when it came to that. When you're dealing with these kids, you crafting a mind. You molding a mind. Well, it's no different than what I'm doing with y'all with the word. We crafting a mind. You're molding a mind. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about something like that, you have to take that very seriously. You know what I'm saying? Boy, I'm talking about, boy, if I had some of y'all children, I ain't saying that all your kids bad or you know what I'm saying or nothing like that there. I'm talking about, boy, they've been sat around with me for about 5-6 months. They'll be totally different when you get them by. You be like, boy, this is not the same child. This is not the same child. I can't even believe he doing, because, boy, I ain't going to play with him. Ain't going to play with him. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like Lizzie be saying this, she be skinning and grinning. She thinks she cute. You know what I'm saying? Probably thinking, yeah, I look like my uncle too. He get away with it. Give her a look. Lizzie know what time it is. She get missing. Get missing. Don't play with me. I'll take you and fold you up, drop you right in the toilet bowl. But them, you got to have that balance with them kids, man. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, I could tear they behind up and I could sit down and talk to them. That's why sometimes you'll see me go off, then sometimes you'll see me sit down and, just like this is Sharon, just sit down and talk to them. That's what my auntie used to do. So like I said, I should go upside your head, but instead I'm going to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Try to finesse you, really get you to really understand what your behavior is doing. You know what I'm saying? Get you to really understand and see the direction that you're going, and for you to really understand it wrong. I'm still going off on you though. Only difference is I just didn't go upside your head. You know what I'm saying? Only difference is I didn't yell. You know what I'm talking about? Or my voice didn't raise. Some of y'all notice how I do that there, even with the babies. I ain't like this. You might yell, might pop them, then sit down and talk to them like they grown. Don't matter they 2-3 years old. They understand. They know what they doing. You know what I'm saying? They know what they doing. They understand. I told y'all how I feel. Once you see a baby know what they doing, start whooping them. You know what I'm talking about? Start popping that thigh. Pop. Start popping that hand. Wow. Because they got to learn. They got to know. But just like you got a hardcore approach, sometimes you got to finesse. Because sometimes they get numb to them whoopings. Just like sometimes y'all get numb to verbal tongue lashings. You know what I'm saying? So I got to try to finesse it. To get you to do what I need you to do. So I can get you where you want to go. But y'all don't see that at the time. Verse 17. Well, 16, my apology. Wherefore henceforth know we no man after the flesh, yea, though we have known a Mashiach after the flesh, yet now henceforth know we him no more. Therefore, if any man be in a Mashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. That's what it's about. It's about Hebrews 10 and 21. It's about becoming a new creature. How else you going to be able to become a new creature? See, the thing is they came with old, rusty, moldy stuff, and they was asking this man to make a league with them. You know what I'm saying? So they could become new. So they could get a new and living way because they heard of his fame. They heard what he did, and they wanted to be joined to him. That's why they say we are your servants. That's the same thing you just sat back and seen in 2 Corinthians chapter 5. If you know the man died for you and rose again, then you would become his servant and you would become a new creature in him because you would make a league with him. You would make a covenant with him. As he said, gather my Kodeshim who make a covenant with me by sacrifice. See, y'all got to sit back and realize if you're going to make a covenant with this man, it's going to have to be some sacrifices. You're going to have to give some things up. And the thing you're going to have to give up is living for yourself, doing what you want to do. If you want to escape the corruption of the world that is through lust, you're going to have to give up your desires. You're going to have to give up doing what you want to do if something is being brought up and letting you know you can't do that. See, sometimes you got infinite no's and then you got no's that are just for the moment. You know what I'm saying? For an extended period of time before you get a green light. But y'all don't like that. Because like I say, you still thinking like kids. You want what you want, you're going to throw a tantrum, or you're going to act like a teenager. You were told not to do something, but you're going to sneak, peek, and geek and go do it anyway. Ought to be shamed. Some of y'all have not the knowledge of Elohim. I speak this to your shame. 10 to 21. My apologies. 16 is good. 15 even better. Wherefore, the Ruach HaKodesh also is a witness to us. For after that he said before, this is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them. Well, where did he write his laws the first time, gentlemen? Tables of stone. The Apostle Paul told you in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, he said, not written on tables of stone, but fleshly tables of the heart. So how you take out of here that this man telling you that same law that was written on them tables of stones have been removed? No, I'm going to take that same law that was written on them tables of stone, I'm going to put it in your mind. But see, the thing is that stuff is not resonating in your mind. What's resonating in your mind is your lust and desires. What's resonating in your mind is your immaturity. What's resonating in your mind is stupidity. Because you steady trying to do what you want to do when that has not been working. One of the things I used to say all the time is, I tried my way for 28 years, like when I first started dealing with the word, and it didn't work. It was trying for me to do something else. You know what I'm saying? My way didn't work. It didn't work. So you know what I did? I ain't gonna do my way no more. Because he showed me cause by the time I started dealing with the word, I was about to be 29. That for pretty much for all intents and purposes, for 29 years, your way didn't work. You like to say, you want to try something different? Say, try something different. You know what I'm saying? Do something different. This didn't work. There's no shame in saying this didn't work, let me do something different. Some of the greatest inventors in the world were able to get their inventions off the ground because they tried something and it didn't work, so they did something different. If going after your desires and doing what you want to do, regardless of what you've been told, hasn't worked out for you, don't you think it's about how it's time to do something different? I don't know, just a suggestion, you know what I'm saying? You know, maybe it'll work out for you. You know what I'm saying? I just told somebody last week, if you do it like I tell you to do it, the result that you want, you'll get it. If you don't do it like I tell you to do it, you ain't gonna get nothing. And you can take that to the bank. You know what I'm saying? You can take that to the bank. Like dead serious. All you gotta do is just do it like I tell you to do it. It'll be executed flawlessly. You know, we with flawless execution. Like to do stuff where stuff goes smoothly. You know what I'm saying? Stuff don't go smoothly when you thinking like a child. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of the people, I can follow directions. If I got to be subordinate up under somebody, and they tell me this is exactly what I want you to do and how I want you to do it, I can do that easily. Just as easily as I can get up and do stuff on my own and create it on my own. You know what I'm saying? Because in order to be able to stand out and lead, you got to be able to follow directions. If you can't follow directions, you can't lead nobody. How you think a Mashiach would be able to lead if he didn't follow directions? He followed directions. A hallmark of a true leader is that he can be able to follow directions. If you can't follow directions, you cannot lead. Because your way and your will gonna come in versus what you were told to do. I tell y'all women this here because y'all have to sit back and look at that. Why would you want to marry a man that can't follow directions? I mean, that man can't lead you. Unless you hard up for loving and companionship, then you don't care. You'll take anything. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up. Vice versa. How could you men want a woman who can't follow directions? I ain't talking about following directions because she doing what she think that you want her to do. Like literally following directions. She ain't gonna follow you. What you want her for? Unless you hard up for loving. Sucker for love. Can't be no sucker for love. I ain't never been no sucker for love. Sucker for love had you miserable. You know what I'm saying? Can't be no sucker for love, man. Love is a beautiful thing. If you can get it, hold on to it. You know what I'm talking about? It's a beautiful thing when it's true, genuine, unadulterated love. I'm talking about love meaning that person loves you for who you are and you love them for who they are. You know what I'm saying? That is a beautiful thing. And I'll never speak against true love, because that's what love is. You actually love the character and personality of the individual that you are with. See, if you're going to sit back and say you're going to be with Hamashiach, that means you love his character and who he is. You know what I'm saying? That's what that means. That's why you say the love of Hamashiach constrain her. Your love for who he is and what he stands for, his goodness, his virtue, his brotherly kindness, his love, his temperance, his patience, his the knowledge of him. Because that's what that means to love. You can't love Hamashiach unless you know him. Can't now one of y'all tell me you love somebody and you don't know them. You can't love somebody you don't know. The only people you love who you really don't know is the children that you make, because their personalities have not been crafted. You know what I'm talking about? That's the only people you're going to tell me you love them and like this here. You had a situation where you love your family member, but you love them because they're your people. You know what I'm saying? But you might not love them individually. Y'all might got family members where you only love them because you share the same DNA makeup. Not because you actually love them. You know, there's a difference. I know dudes that like, I love my mama, but I love my daddy, but I love them because they my mama. I love them because they my daddy, but I don't like that nigga. You know what I'm saying? When you sit back and you say, I love this woman, you ought to know what you love about that woman. And you can't tell me what you love about a woman in no short period of time, because you don't know the woman. You can't tell me what you love about a man in those, because you don't know the man. Like when Kira talking about her cousin got married after 3 months. That's retarded. I don't know you well enough to marry you in 90 days. I don't know you well enough. You still in that dream phase. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know you well enough. I wouldn't dare do that. Word or no word, I wouldn't dare do that. Even without the word, man, I would know I would have to deal with a woman for at least a year before I even thought about it. And I know I wouldn't move in with her, because I already know if I move in with you, I might as well marry you. If I know I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to move in with you and live with you, then I already know I got to go ahead and marry you right now, because this don't make sense. That never made sense for me to live with a woman and not be married. Why am I going to take care of a woman like she my wife and I ain't married to her? That's dumb. I'm not finna play house. Shoot, I done told y'all before, boy, that's weed money. You know what I'm saying? That's how I looked at it. That's weed money, man. That's an authentic jersey right there. I can pay my own rent, but I'm not finna take care of no woman like she my wife and I don't, and I'm not married to her. That is crazy. That was crazy to me. I ain't know nothing about no word or nothing. That just was crazy to me. That made no sense. If I'm gonna move in and live with you, then I'm gonna marry you. And if I know I didn't want to marry you, why would I move in with you? Because you know what? A lot of people be sucker for love, be hard up for loving and companionship, or like to play house. I didn't want to play house. If I was going to make a house, it was going to be a house. You know what I'm saying? Because if I marry you, you ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to work this out. It's a problem. We're going to have to work this out. Lock all the doors and the windows. Because ain't nobody going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You got to be real serious about that, man. I'm going to tell y'all something, man. The most powerful thing you can say out your mouth to somebody is that you love them. Don't take that lightly. Don't throw that around lightly. You know what I'm saying? And above all, boy, don't say it if you don't mean it. You know what I'm saying? Don't play with people like that. Don't play with people hard like that. I don't respect stuff. I ain't never done that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never done that. If you tell somebody you love them, mean it. See, that's serious right now. I'm talking about it doesn't matter if it's a mate or a friend or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Those are serious words. See, your family members, you grow up hearing that. Oh, you know what I'm saying? But you talking about somebody that you say that's your friend, or you talking to them, you dating them, or whatever the case may be. Well, that's serious right there when you utter them words, man. Them 3 words right there, that's serious. And if you don't mean them words, and it come to find out you done told support, that can crush somebody to their core. That ain't cool, man. I ain't never looked no woman in the face and told her I love her and I ain't mean it. I ain't never looked no man in the face and told him I love him and I ain't mean it. And when I tell y'all this here, cause Link, no boy, we grew up telling each other that. You know what I'm saying? Well, I love you, boy. Straight up, I'm talking about 15, 16, 17 years old. No shame, don't no matter who around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's my homeboy and I love him. You know what I'm talking about? What you mean? I'm going to ride for him too. He just ain't no idle words. I ain't just ain't telling this man I love him because I think it's cool. Telling this man I love him because I love him. You know what I'm saying? If I got it and he ain't got it, then he got it then. If he fighting, then I'm fighting then. If he's shooting, then I'm shooting then. Whatever he going through, I'm going through it with him because I love him. He need me to tell him the truth about something, I'm going to tell him the truth. I ain't going to tell him what he want to hear because I love him. That's my friend. And I mean that. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't mean that, I wouldn't tell him that. I ain't going to look no woman in the face and tell her, I love you, and I don't mean that. You know what I'm saying? Them powerful words in the English language to use. Y'all hear me? Don't throw them words around loosely. Don't throw them words around loosely. 10 and what? 17. And their sins and iniquities will I remember no more. Now where remission of these is, there is no more offering for sin. Having therefore, brethren, boldness and entered into the Kadesh by the blood of Yahusha, by a new and living way, which he have consecrated for us through his flesh, through the veil, my apologies, that is to say his flesh, having a high priest over the house of Elohim, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water, so that wound could be cured. That's the whole objective why we do this stuff every Wednesday, every Shabbat, why we keep these feasts. Like the brother say, what good is it for you to gather up every Saturday to hear the word that I might get a new and living way? That whatever direction I'm going in, that's contrary to the will of Yah, that the word of Yah can come to me, that I might correct it, that my soul might be saved. That's what it profit me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I get from him. That's why we here. That's why we do it. What other reason would it be? Yahusha chapter 9. We stopped at about verse 13, so now we're in verse 14. And the men took of their victuals and asked not at the council out the mouth of Yahuwah. And you know what he said back telling you? You know what they messed up at? See, if they would have asked Yah about it, he would have known. They would have known who these people were, that they were neighbors. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't come on no far journey, and they were being deceived. See, that's what some of y'all problem is. See, y'all don't ask counsel at the mouth of Yahuwah. See, guess what? And praise Yah for Yahusha. Don't you see how that go right back to what we looked at in Philippians? Those things that are honest, those things that are true, those things that think upon these. Let us choose judgment that we might know the things that are good. You know what I'm saying? Because when we know the things that are good, see, we'll think upon these things. We'll think upon the things that we done heard and received, and we'll ask a recommended course of action at the mouth of Yahuwah, which meaning that obviously they wouldn't stand there and ask at Yahuwah. The only person who would have had the ability to do that would have been Yahushua, son of Nun. You know what I'm talking about? But they would have went to the man of Yah to ask them, what is the word from Yahuwah on what we should do? And then they would take that recommended course of action and implement it. And that's what some of y'all, I'm going to tell you what some of y'all do. You'll ask me what you should do and then do directly opposite of what I told you. Which means you shouldn't even ask at all. If you knew you wasn't going to do what I was going to tell you to do, why even ask? You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to come and ask Lil Muffin, hey, I had this situation. What you think I should do? And don't think that I've never in my life asked my sister on certain stuff on what you think I should do. Have I done that before? Huh? Little Muffin put a thumbs up. Hey, man, and then sit back, and guess what? I weigh and consider what, it's sometimes when Little Muffin say, well, I wouldn't do that if I was you. I said, all right, well, I ain't gonna do that then. I could know when Little Muffin think about that, she get a little look, like she did when she was little. Like, I wouldn't do that. Kind of like that look she gave when she first learned about not smoking cigarettes in school. About cigarettes were bad, and I was smoking a black on the porch. That's the face she had. Smoking is bad. She had she had like a whole 2-week period, boy. They taught her at Love Grove about smoking is bad. She was like, this here smoking is bad. It's not good for you. I say, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, hey, shoot, she wasn't wrong though. Hey, she told her nothing wrong. Guess what though? I'm still smoking though. You go on in the house, Little Muffin. I'll be in there in a little minute. I wasn't even old enough to be buying no back at the time. It made no difference. I got this black though. Finna smoke this joint in about 30 minutes. So when we look at about verse 15, so Yahusha made peace with them and made a league with them. Listen, to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swear unto them. Listen what it said. And it came to pass at the end of 3 days, after they had made a league with them, they heard that they were their neighbors and that they dwelt among them. And the children of Yasharal journeyed and came unto their cities on the 3rd day. Now the cities were Gibeon, Chephirah, Beeroth, and Karath Jearim. And the children of Yasharal smote them not, because the princes of the congregation had sworn unto them by Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal. And all the congregation murmured against the princes. But all the princes said unto the congregation, we have sworn unto them by Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal. Now therefore we may not touch them. This we will do to them. We will even let them live, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath which we swear unto them. And the princes said unto them, let them live, but let them be hewers of wood, drawers of water unto all the congregation, as the princes had promised them. And Yahusha called for them and spake unto them, saying, wherefore have you beguiled us, saying, we are very far from you, when ye dwell among us. Now therefore ye are accursed, and there shall none of you be free from being bondmen and hewers of wood and drawers of water for the house of my Elohim. And they answered Yahusha and said, because it was certainly told thy servants, how that Yahuwah thy Elohim commanded his servant Moses to give you all the land, and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you. Therefore we were so afraid of our lives because of you, and have done this thing. And now behold, we are in thy hand, as it seemed good and right unto thee, to do unto us, do. So you see this here, he made them servants, right? Made them laborers, right? But you see the key thing, he said he made a league with him after 3 days to let him live. And what that sound like to you? 1 Corinthians chapter 15. I got to finish up. I ain't going to get everything. It's something in the book of Ruth that I wanted to hit tonight. But I'm not going to hit it tonight. I'm going to have to hit it in the afternoon. Because I won't be able to do it justice if I skim past it. And I'm not going to skim past it. But it will tie in to some of these things that you heard this evening. Certain things specifically and in particular. What I just said now. 1 Corinthians 15 and 1. Moreover, brethren, I declare unto you the gospel which I preached unto you, which also you have received and wherein you stand, by which also ye are saved, if you keep in memory what I preached unto you, unless you believed in vain. Do you not realize that these Gibeonites kept in memory what they heard, so they didn't believe in vain and they would be able to be spared? Y'all didn't see that, did they? They didn't believe for nothing. Boy, they heard that there. They said, boy, we got to make a covenant with these people. Do y'all see that? Y'all got to sit back and look at it. You can't believe in vain. You got to keep this stuff in remembrance. You got to keep it in memory, what you've been told. He say, for I had delivered unto you, first of all, that which I also received, that how Mashiach died for our sins according to the scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the 3rd day according to the scriptures. Did y'all see something right there? The 3rd day he let him live. Do you not realize when the Mashiach got up on the third day, you were able to live through him? It's amazing what this man be sitting right here in his word, ain't it? 2 Samuel 21. I had to show you because there ain't no way we can read about these Gibeonites and then y'all don't know who they are, right? Then you turn around and read about their story, and guess who you find? And then even when you find them, then you should have been able to get the underlying message that when you heard, you believe. And he said, what you see that what seemed to be good to you to do it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the Most High seen good, that's his will, you got to take that. They say, man, you're going to be drawers of water and hewers of wood. They say, that's fine with me. We were scared. We heard about you. You got to sit back and look at that. This man said, we heard about Moses and what he did to Egypt. And we heard about how y'all was going to destroy all the kings. They heard about it. And you know the difference is, it was other lands around them people too, didn't they? They heard it too, didn't they too? They didn't believe it though. They didn't believe it though. But these Gibeonites, they heard it and they believed. That's why they were spared. That's why they were saved. Don't you see faith come by hearing and hearing come by the word? That's why he said your faith has saved thee. Their faith saved them. They didn't have no law. Their faith saved them. They got the law afterwards. That's not saying that you ain't got, you see somebody who going to try to say, see, you ain't got to keep the law. That's how they'll take that one. But you know if they dwelt in the land, they got taught the law. You know what I'm saying? If they dwelt with us, they got taught the law. That's a given. But they showed the righteousness of faith, the belief in Yah that this man was going to do exactly what he said he was going to do. They believed that. Therefore, they say we got to make a covenant with him, which is how you see that the new covenant, which is that new and living way, is a covenant that is based off of faith, the righteous obedience of faith, which we just talked about last week, didn't we? Thank you. That's what it's based off of. You will not receive the Ruach HaKodesh if you don't believe. Because he said on the last day of the great day of the feast, he said, all ye that are thirsty, come unto me and drink. Because he that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. This he spake Yahushua, the Ruach HaKodesh, which had not yet been given, because Yahushua had not yet been glorified, that all those that believe on him should receive. I should have led off with. And that verse 39. You know what I'm saying? He said he gave them power to become the sons of Elohim, all those that believed on his name. Believing on the name of Yahushua is believing on the name of Yahuwah. Believing on the name of Yahuwah is believing on his word. Believing on his word is obeying his word and following and living for him and not for yourself. You know what I'm saying? The hallmark of maturity. The hallmark of being a full age. The hallmark of being off breast milk and ready for strong meat. Praise y'all. Y'all feel me? Y'all hear me? Come on now. Come on now. 2 Samuel 21 and 2. The word is right and the word is good. Ain't that what Paul said? It's just and good. This thing right. And now the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Yasharal, but of the remnant of the Amorites, and the children of Yasharal had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Yasharal and Judah. So Saul good and stupid, because Saul knew he ain't supposed to touch these people. Did it anyway. Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, what shall I do for you? Wherewith shall I make atonement? Listen what he said. How will I make atonement? That you may bless the inheritance of Yah. David is asking these Gibeonites, how can they make an atonement to, who's the inheritance of Yahuwah? Who is Yasharal is the inheritance of Yahuwah. David is asking these Gibeonites, what can I do for an atonement for you to bless the inheritance? Follow me now. And the Gibeonites said unto him, we will have, listen what he said, no silver, nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man of Yasharal. And he said, what shall say that I will do for you? And they answered the king, the man that consumed us and that devised against us, that we should be destroyed, from remaining in any of the coasts of Yasharal, let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto Yahuwah in Gibeah of Saul, whom Yahuwah did choose. And the king said, I will give them. But the king spared Meshbeshoth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the Yahuwah's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. Why is this important? What do y'all see what y'all looking at this? Gentlemen, what do you see? What do you see? Think about it. He asked, what is the atonement that you can make for the blessing of Yah? This man say, let us get 7 sons. We'll hang him up before Yah. He said, we don't want no silver or no gold. Just give me 7 sons to hang up before Yah now. Obviously, we ain't going to hit this harvest thing like I want to. I say that for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Come around here to Isaiah 52 and 3. After you look at Isaiah 52 and 3, 1 Peter chapter 1 and about verse 18. Woo-woo. Ain't nothing like the word. Praise Yah for Yahushua. Ain't nothing like the word, none. Hey, I tried to tell you. I told y'all yesterday that some of this stuff I would hit it different than what I showed y'all. I told y'all that, didn't I? I told you that now. I told you it wasn't going to come the same way twice. Isaiah 52 and 3. For thus saith Yahuwah, you have sold yourselves for naught, and you shall be redeemed without money. You sit back looking at it. There's a curse on Yasharal, what's going on because of what Saul did to the Gibeonites, ain't it? And what did they say? We don't want no silver, no gold. You sold yourself for nothing. See, he said in Saul's zeal for Yasharal and Yehuda, which goes back to look at Romans 10 and 1. We look at Romans 10 and 1 before we swing to 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 18. I thank y'all for the word. Well, I had told them yesterday, I said, I'm not going to hit this the same way I hit it with y'all yesterday. It's going to be different. I told them that. Because this ain't coming the same way I gave it to them yesterday. And I ain't even hit every spot we hit yesterday. You just wait till I show you what we got in rule. And y'all will is going to be different than what we did yesterday. 10 and 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Elohim for Yasharal is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have the zeal of Elohim, but not according to knowledge. Ooh. And that's why that's why Saul killed the Gibeonites, because he had a zeal, but not according to knowledge. He didn't take heed to the word that was said. And in his zeal and in his passion and his desire, he committed a sin. Hold on, look what it says. For being ignorant of Elohim's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of Elohim. Don't you realize that them Gibeonites showed forth the righteousness of Elohim by their faith? And in his zeal trying to go to set about his own righteousness, he didn't submit himself to the righteousness of Elohim by taking heed to that covenant, that oath that was made with them. Because you know, oh man. Hold on 1 second. Hebrews chapter 6, before we get to 1 Peter chapter 1. Thank y'all for the word. Start to come into my mind. Sometimes you got to go ahead and just go for the meat. See, that's why some people don't like to come around and listen. They tell me, man, y'all be going all through all this stuff, all these precepts. We trying to eat some meat, man. We trying to be fully grown. See, you know what I'm saying? See, y'all can't see it right now. I ain't going to put it on tape. But see, right now, it's like my arm right here. You know what I'm saying? See, these arms right here, see, they need some nutrients. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't get no nutrients. See, they can't get no bigger. See, some people like, hey, I'm vegan. I ain't mad at you for being vegan. I need protein, though. Because I'm trying to get some gains. You know what I'm saying? I need some strong meat. Yeah, I can go in the word and show you that crops and vegetables can be meat. By all means, I can do that. Not saying there's anything wrong with being a vegan. I ain't mad at you. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I like animal flesh. Rightly seasoned and properly marinated animal flesh. You know, the animal flesh in that stir fry was quite delightful. With those raw vegetables, even better. Better way to have stir fry than to just go buy a pack of stir fry. Just cut up my own vegetables, make my own stir fry. You know what I'm saying? T, I hope you take note of that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have to sit back and look at that, man. Don't get you no woman trying to cook you some vegetables out of can, out of bag. A man might have a reason to get steamable vegetables. You marry that woman, you better get some knives, get the slicing and dicing. I don't want no bag vegetables in no bag. No can. You know what I'm saying? I was with T the other day. She said, you got beans in the can. We don't buy beans in the can. I said, I only buy beans in the can because of situation and circumstance. But I'm glad I know you know how to wash them and dry them out. Guess what she going to be making? Kidney beans, red beans, black beans, not no pork and beans, pinto beans, maybe even lima beans. And then when she go to eating them beans, she got to go sit on the other side of the house. You finna be over here farting by me. You sit on the other side of the house. Hold on, Hebrews chapter 6 and about verse 14. Matter of fact, make it 11. We desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end, that you be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherited the promises. For when Elohim made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely blessing I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men truly swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife. Wherein Elohim, willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things in which it is impossible for Elohim to lie, we might have a strong consolation who fled for refuge to lay upon the hope set before us. Do you not realize that you see them people that they made an oath, and he say an oath is the ending of all strife, and them Gibeonites made an oath with him because they know it's impossible for y'all to lie because they were looking for a refuge? Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't see that. Y'all didn't even think about that, did you? Thank y'all for the word. You know what I'm saying? Look here. This is why I do what I do. I say, I ain't gonna sit here and tell you I'm the hardest, coldest, most skilled man walking the earth. But I can hold my own. I can hold my own. I bet some of y'all that ever read Joshua chapter 9 and 2 Samuel 21, bet you never looked at it like that before. But that's talking about your salvation and your faith. That when that man made that oath to sit back and be able to make that covenant with you to become the sons of Elohim, say, this is my blood, drink. This is the new covenant which I make for you, which is shed for the remission for many of sin. You ain't sitting back looking at that. That's an oath right there. You know what I'm saying? That's an oath right there, which is the ending of all strife. So you could have a place of refuge. So you could have some hope. And you got to have the same mind that they had. Boy, we were so afraid. Because our wound was incurable. Our sin was at our right hand. We were so afraid. But we heard about you. We had to come to you, save our soul. Remember, they came to Yahushua, son of Nun, and say, we are your servants. Don't you realize when you judge that one has died for all, that you should live under him, you saying, I am your servant? He told you that in Leviticus 25. He said, the children of Yasharal are my servants. Y'all got to remember that. 1 Peter 1 and 18. Huh? Y'all all right? Y'all understand what we talking about? This ain't too many precepts, is it? Somebody told me that too many precepts. Say we look at too many precepts. Just give me one verse, keep it simple. You know what the word part is? I don't know how many verses we looked at, and I don't need nobody to tell me. But I guarantee you it's pretty simple though, ain't it? But you got to go around, you got to go here a little, there a little. You got to put together the pieces of the puzzle. You know what I'm saying? And when you put the pieces of the puzzle together, when you finish, you be like, this was so simple, it was so clear. Not only that, but the underlying message that you're getting. You know what I'm saying? This is to help you along your way. 1 Peter 1 and 18. For as much as ye know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold from the vain behavior received by tradition from your fathers, but with the precious blood of a Mashiach as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, who truly was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you, who by him do believe in Elohim, that he raised him up from the dead, and gave him esteem, that your faith and hope might be in Elohim. Don't you realize when them Gibeonites say they heard of Moses and them come up out of Egypt, out of Mizraim, that mean they heard about that Passover lamb. They heard how that went down. And they faith and they hope was in Elohim. Oh, man. Whole time they were showing their faith and hope was in the Mashiach. Because of that lamb that was without spot or blemish that was sacrificed. Because they say they heard about it. So if they heard about it, they heard, yeah, they took a lamb. They had to hear all of that. Thank y'all for the word. Go on to John 12 and 33. T at the door. Y'all all right? I'm feeling good. I still feel good. 12 and 30. John 12 and 30. Yahusha answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. This he said, signifying what death he should die. The people answer him, we have heard out of the Torah that a Mashiach abide forever. How say thou, the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man? What did those Gibeonites say they want to do with the 7 sons of Saul? Hang them up before Yahuwah. And guess what? What was Saul? What was Saul? What was he? This is a simpler question. It's not, the answer ain't even that deep. What was Saul? He was the king. So they wanted to take the king's son and hang him up. They wanted to take the king's son and hang him up. 2 Samuel 21. Ain't that something? I was telling the brother yesterday, man, dude told me that he said, man, it's utterly ridiculous to say the whole book is about Yahweh Shai. I say it's utterly ridiculous for you not to know it. I say that's probably why he would say it's utterly ridiculous, because he calling on Kawasaki. Nigga, you need to go to the motorcycle shop. Verse 7 of 2 Samuel 21. I'm sorry, verse 8 of 2 Samuel 21. But the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bare unto Saul, Armani, Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up from Adriel, the son of Barazil, the Metholite. And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before Yahuwah. And they fell all 7 together, and were put to death in the days of the harvest, in the first days, in the beginning of the barley harvest. And Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, took sackcloth and spread it for her upon the rock, and from the beginning of harvest until water dropped unto them out of Shamahim, suffered neither the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And it was told David that Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, the concubine of Saul, had done. And David went and took the bones of Saul and the bodies of Jonathan his son from the men of Jabesh Gilead, which he had stolen from the street in Bethshan, where the Philistines had hanged them, when the Philistines had slain Saul and Gilboa. And he brought them up from thence, the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and gathered the bones of them that were hanged. And the bones of Saul and Jonathan his son buried they in the country of Benjamin and Zelah, in the sepulchre of Kish his father. And they performed all that the king commanded. And after that, Elohim was entreated for the land. Now there was a famine in the land. Basically, there was chastisement on the people. It said they hung these 7 men up, and they all fell together dead in the days of the harvest and the first days of the barley harvest. Does anybody have any idea what harvest this is? Who has any idea what barley harvest this is and when this harvest going down? Who got an idea? Anybody? Remember, we just talked about the 3 times there are harvests. What are the 3 times there are harvests, gentlemen? Who know the 3 times in the year where there's a harvest? Coincidentally, the 3 times a year that is a harvest coincides with something that you ought to know. The first harvest is the harvest of first fruits and the waving of fruits after the first Shabbat of unleavened bread. The second harvest is the harvest of wheat or first fruits for Pentecost. And the last harvest is ingathering. Ain't that something that the 3 harvest times you see coincide with your feast days, the 3 times you got to come up and stand before y'all? You not realize that first harvest signifying a Mashiach being the first fruits on the dead, so it would make sense that you would keep that. The second one signifying the giving of the Ruach HaKodesh and the first fruits of the Spirit. And the last harvest signifying the wheat that'll be brought into the barn. He said this when these men were slain at the beginning of the barley harvest. So let's look at Leviticus 23 and you'll see the beginning of the barley harvest. And then you can look at Matthew 26 and you'll see exactly how this went down. And then we'll finish off to see how the land was entreated by Yah after this happened, to sit back and show you that all this was a testimony of Hamashiach. Is it clear for you? Or are we reading too many precepts? I don't know. We reading too many precepts? They said we read too many precepts. Leviticus chapter 23 and about verse 9. I'll make it 8. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, 9, that's what I'm going to say. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharal, and say unto them, When you be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then you shall bring a sheave of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest, and he shall wave the sheave before Yahuwah to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Shabbat, the priest shall wave it. And ye shall offer that day when you have waved the sheave, a he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto Yahuwah. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil. There you go, ain't it? Old meat offering with some flour and oil. Yeah, some of y'all seen that meme talking about that you know God black because we eat fried chicken. Some of y'all seen that? Yeah, they had a meme they got going around with a plate full of fried chicken talking about you know God black, but they would quote Leviticus 2 talking about because the meat offering got oil and flour. So that's how you know. But the thing is, though, none of the meat offerings were ever chicken, though. I guess they're trying to say that's how you know that's why God got to be black and we got to be his people because we like fried food. I guess I ain't black. I don't eat fried chicken. I don't. When you seen me eat some fried chicken? Never. You never seen me pull up the Popeye talking about let me get a 2-piece crispy. See me pull up KFC, I need grilled. I don't eat fried chicken because, man, my mama, when I was about 17, man, she entered into the early stages of congestive heart failure. And they told her she couldn't eat like that no more. And she started baking chicken. And I just pretty much rolled with it and never really cared for it like that. You know what I'm saying? I'll eat it from time to time, not on a regular basis. Like straight up, man, you ain't finna catch me like, if I'm going to Popeye for one thing. You know what that is? That's a biscuit and some fries. I might get some fries, but you're going for the biscuit. See, T over here, Miss Biscuit connoisseur and expert, she like Bojangles. I done had a Bojangle biscuit. Ain't messing with Popeyes. Popeye biscuit melt in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Just sit, boy, you buy the Popeye biscuit, you chew it, and you just marinate on it for a few seconds. You don't even want to swallow it. Because you want all that buttery goodness to jump around your palate. I don't know nothing about no Miss Winters. I know about Louisiana Popeye chicken biscuits, though. I don't know nothing about Miss Winters. I know about a Popeye biscuit, I'm telling you. My mama worked that Popeye when I was a little boy. So she'll bring that in there. Boy, the first time you taste one of them biscuits, boy, I'm telling you, man, KFC ain't messing with them. I worked at KFC, man. Them biscuits is garbage. All them biscuits is a box full of frozen biscuits. You like, man, the Grand biscuits in the grocery store better than that. You know what I'm saying? A Popeyes biscuit, you ain't got to put nothing on it. You know what I'm saying? Before y'all start eating honey, some of y'all know I ain't pouring no honey on this biscuit. You ain't gonna put no jelly on it or nothing. Boy, a Popeyes biscuit, you ain't got to put nothing on that. All you just got to pick him up and just look at him. And then ain't making no peanut butter and jelly sandwich with no Popeyes biscuit. This nigga disrespecting the Popeyes biscuit. Yeah. This nigga done ruined the whole, like a Popeyes biscuit is how maybe T and Brittany look at a box of Krispy Kreme donuts. Probably Miles too. You open it up and it's like a light shine when you open the box. You know what I'm saying? You might go to Popeyes and like, let me get 2 dozen biscuits. You know what I'm saying? And you just open the box up and it's like this here. It's like, light start coming up out the box. You know what I'm saying? They say you ain't got nothing else to eat but these biscuits. That's why you see that picture where they talk about that dude getting choked when you eat a Popeye biscuit with no water. You know what I'm saying? You better have a beverage with that. But if you eat more than one, you better have a beverage. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Man, now I'm going to tell you something, right? I went to Bojangles a couple weeks ago. Man, I wanted some grilled chicken. I really wanted some french fries, and they french fries are good. I like french fries. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what none of you niggas say. I like french fries. Steak fries specifically. And I ain't mad. Bojangles got good french fries. Popeye's french fries all right. KFC got potato wedges. You know what I'm talking about? But Bojangles got some good french fries, man. And the lady blessed me too. French fries all at the bottom of the box, coming all out the back. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like, bet, you all right with me? You know what I'm saying? I went down there to get some grilled chicken. You know that little grilled chicken thing we had got that time? But boy, that lady looked out with them fries. I said, well, you all right with me, boy? Because that's what I really came here for. I wanted some french fries. You know what I'm talking about? But I got one of them, Bo-Berry biscuit, that's what they call it. That thing was good now. It wasn't a biscuit, it was what they put on it. That was a good biscuit, man. Let me stop talking about that. That little muffin done got all amped up about that Bo-Berry biscuit. I ain't know she knew nothing about that. I know T-Sat probably put on 30 pounds working at Bojangles eating up all them people biscuits. Every time they turn around, you ain't doing no work. What you doing? What that is in your mouth? You gonna do in my mouth? I got a spit. Got a mouthful of biscuits. They say a regular biscuit and a Bo-Berry biscuit at the same time. But guess what though? I ain't lying because she over here looking like, yeah, she done took a regular biscuit and a Bo-Berry biscuit and tried to put them in her mouth at the same time. With a cinnamon twist. Real fat nigga. Got the cinnamon twist in between the middle of them to try to, oh man. Well, what have I chosen? She say cinnamon sticks. That's what T Mouse say. That's what T mess around and got a biscuit booty. Biscuit booty. They say, well, it probably shaped like a biscuit too, wasn't it? All them biscuits you eat. Woo-woo. Carb City. But you sit back and see that there, you see how he said you got to bring this, the harvest thereof. Let's look at Matthew 26. I got to really let y'all go. It's 11:45. Matthew 26. Y'all don't mind me though. I like biscuits now. You got to watch some of them. I seen something too, man. You got to look into that about them Grand biscuits. You get them Pillsbury ones. I seen something, man. It might be pork in them things. You got to check them things out, man, before you buy them. You know what I'm saying? I check. Yeah, I mean, hey, man. I ain't looked into it, but I seen something that there's possibility that's in there. So the best thing I can tell you to do, the people got a customer service line right on the back of the bag. You know what I'm saying? I was just in Walmart the other day. People looking at me crazy. I was Googling every ingredient on the back of some body wash. They like, what is he doing? Don't worry about it. It's the third bottle. You ain't bothering you now this. Leave me alone then. You know what I'm talking about? Don't be scared to turn around that bag and put that phone number in your phone and call them people like, what? Look here, Mr. White Man. What's in these biscuits? You know what I'm saying? For real. Be scared to say, Mr. White Man, what's in these biscuits, man? What this ingredient here is, man? Because they might, what it is, you know, they might slide lard in there. You know what I'm saying? You got to check. You just got to check. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure. You don't never know. You know what I'm saying? These people play a dirty game, boy. I was talking to my homeboy Corey when he would cut my hair, man. He said he seen something I had made about that thing about not eating crap. I was like, you know, I live weight, so, you know, I don't really eat processed food like that anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, shoot, bro. I said, boy, these people put swine in everything. He was like, what? He said, so you wouldn't go to McDonald's? I said, oh, God, no. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could walk up with, somebody could come with $1 billion talking about, do you want to eat at McDonald's? Boy, I ain't going. I ain't had them, boy. You know what I'm saying? Ain't happening. It was a couple things I wanted to talk to y'all about too, man. It slipped my mind, but I'm gonna talk to y'all about the hypocrisy of these white folks. Y'all will tomorrow bring about in my mind about this Star Wars boycott because they mad that Luke Skywalker's being played by a black boy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know y'all can't go see Star Wars no way. You know when they talking about the Force, y'all don't even want to know what that is. No, it's satanic. Like when you actually look into it, when you talk about the Force be with you and all, the Force be with you. And what you read the words say, and the Elohim of peace be with you. You know what I'm talking about? Put two and two together now. The Force be with you. What force? What force? What is he talking about? See, you know, we done looked into that and seen all that there, but they really mad because Luke Skywalker is a white boy in all the other movies. But in this one, he black. Now white people boycotting because they got a black Luke Skywalker. But you ain't see us boycotting when you had that white Jesus you had walking around there and passing the Christ. You ain't see us do none of that. No, you stupid niggas went in there. You went in there and cried for him. When Russell Crowe was playing Noah, ain't nobody protest about that. Russell Crowe playing Noah with all types of birds and animals that wasn't even around when Noah was walking the earth. You know what I'm saying? Got Elizabeth Taylor playing Cleopatra. You know what I'm talking about? Lady, that woman ain't white. You know what I'm saying? Now they got a black boy playing Luke Skywalker. It's a problem. What these white people say. You know what I'm saying? Then somebody put a picture. Did y'all forget that George Lucas is married to a black woman? I say, well, if you forget, they say you got to give your booty hole up to be in Star Wars. That's what they say. I don't know if it's true or not, but they say, boy, you got to commit. They say you got to commit a man-on-man act to be. But you know, anybody just don't get in Star Wars. Do y'all realize how big of a movie Star Wars is? Shoot, Samuel Jackson was in one too. You know this series because in this new one, they got Harrison Ford in it. They brought his character back, Han Solo. I call him Hands because he got his hands everywhere they ain't got to be. There's something wrong with that nigga. You ride around with an old woolly nigga and a robot? No, ain't something right with you. You hang out with old bears and robots. You know what I'm talking about? Around here trying to catch another nigga old lady. You know what I'm saying? He supposed to be trying to save Princess Leia. He know Princess Leia like Luke. He trying to slide in on the side. Yeah, watch hands. He trying to put his hands where they ain't got no business. You got to watch it. Socking the computer. Around here with a nigga name. You know something wrong when you hang with somebody named Chewbacca? All he talked to you like is, what did you say? What did you say? Everything he's saying, yeah, man, I heard you too, man. We gonna make a left at the next star. What? Y'all around here, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here wondering what them lightsabers about, what they got going on with that. All these grown men sword fighting. What y'all really trying to tell us? I look at all that type of stuff. That don't mean that that's what they doing, but shoot, man, I don't know. These people nasty. Well, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm saying this here like when I was talking to Corey about that, and he grabbed his hand sanitizer. He said, "Man, what?" He said, "Yeah." He said he seen that. He said, "Man, these people put pork in it." He said, "What's the purpose of that?" I said, "Boy, McDonald's. I just seen a story. Like Brittany had sent it to me, but I had already seen it. The franchise people at McDonald's, like, nigga, McDonald's finna go belly up. The reason why they feeling like they were gonna go belly up is not because people just don't want to eat there. Because they say McDonald's trying to be too many things to too many people. You know what I'm saying? They were like, they menu board too bloated. Boy, you pull up the McDonald's menu board, boy, that probably thing like reading a novel. You know what I'm saying? Because they, see, well, I know this here because you know, they run commercials all day long. You know what I'm saying? So you can sit back and look at it. They sell some of everything. You could get a chicken wrap, you could get a salad, you could get all the stuff you know that they used to sell. You got your McFlurries. You know what I'm talking about? You got your milkshakes. You got your breakfast stuff. Now they making that all day. You got the McRib. They sell oatmeal at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All this stuff. So when you coming at a fast food restaurant and you see it, this not you ain't trying to wade through all of that unless you a diehard McDonald's supporter. You know what I'm saying? Them people were complaining about them making breakfast being all day because they were like, this is not gonna solve the problem about people not spending here. You know what I'm saying? A part of the reason why people not spending there is they realize that your food is garbage, that it's not fit for a dead person. You know what I'm saying? If you could wake somebody up out the grave and ask them, do they want a Big Mac? And say, you trying to kill me again? I was already dead. You know what I'm saying? Their French fries don't decay. You can drop a French fry in your back. Everybody done it. You done had some McDonald's in your car. You sit back and look at, boy, I ain't been to McDonald's in a minute. And that French fry laying there like you just bought him yesterday. And you know what some of you niggas did when you found that found that French fry on that floor on that seat? You ate it. Cause you know why you ate it? Cause you didn't know how long you would bite there. You like this here shoe? He good. He good. Now they talking about don't mess around and if you thought it when you just bought some and you dropped one, you like to see if you trying to hit that 5-second rule and you thought it was fresh. Why is that nigga so cold? Oh, that was from 3 weeks ago when you went. But they say now they making the patties bigger, but it's still probably 1,000 different cows in every patty. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't gonna get into them talking about they sacrificing kids, killing the kids. I'm not gonna touch that. I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah, you know the white dudes say, you know, they kidnap kids, kill them, and then put them in McDonald's hamburgers. I'll let y'all look that up on your own, man. Hey, I haven't looked and seen if there's definitive proof to do it. It was just a white Jewish dude who said it. You know, hey, what do I know? You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, you put your mouth on baby penis, boy, you liable to do anything. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the fact of Matthew 26:1. It's just the fact that when you sit back and look at it, it's just poison all the way around what they do. But I was just telling them it's amazing how these people slide stuff in on us. The same way we even sit back and look at, like I was telling y'all earlier, I go into it more on tomorrow, with the ABIB. ABIB means green ears. That's supposed to be the sign to get ready to reap this barley harvest that we read about. And this is how people say, okay, the new year starts the new moon after Abib, or when the barley is seen. There's no law for that. That's Jewish custom, which a mass majority of Hebrew Israelites follow. I've never followed it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't like this here because I asked the brother to show it to me in the word. He couldn't show it to me. You know what I'm saying? So I never really heed to it. But that is one of the reasons why our months is off. That's why we're a month ahead. You know what I'm saying? That's why we were keeping tabernacles in the 6th month and Pentecost in the 2nd month instead of the 3rd month. See, it was one thing I wanted to mention to y'all before I get ready to wrap this up. It was real ironic when we went to think about it. Tamara posted the first fruits of her crops in the group, in the congregation group. After Shabbat, you can go in there and look for yourself. This was after Pentecost. And she specifically put in the post, these are my first fruits. That fruit was not ready during Pentecost when it should have been ready. You know what I'm saying? Because at Pentecost, and we'll go into this, y'all will more in depthly on tomorrow. On Pentecost, you're supposed to bring your harvest. Remember, I told you there's 3 harvests: a barley harvest during unleavened bread, harvest for Pentecost, and a harvest for tabernacles. You know what I'm saying? Those people who claimed and stood before Peter them on Pentecost, that was that harvest that they were bringing in at that time. You know what I'm saying? Of them that got the Ruach HaKodesh, that's the same thing. Y'all will on tomorrow, we're going to look at how that wheat harvest that's going to be brought in the barn at the end, more in depthly than when we looked at it Wednesday. Because I didn't take the same track that the other brother took. And speaking on this, I took the agricultural track. You know what I'm talking about? For us to see that we were early. Because that's what it came in, that's the track that came in my mind to take in that direction. You know what I'm saying? Just like when she came and everybody who was here, remember, she brought those apples for tabernacles. And she specifically said what? The apples weren't ready. Ain't that what she said? Now, if this is a harvest festival, those apples should have been ready. But see, that's how y'all did it. See, he didn't let us catch that. Because if we would have caught that, we'd have sat back and looked at, what you mean the apples ain't ready in this ingathering, this harvest time? And you know what's crazy? In 7 days, you know what's go down in 7 days? It's officially October 24th, right? In about 2 minutes. You know what go down in 7 days? What the whole world, well, at least all of America, finna be doing in 7 days? Halloween. And you know what some people call Halloween? Not just that, not devil's not. They call it a harvest festival. It's called a harvest festival. You know what I'm saying? It's a harvest festival. That right there. Me and Trav were talking about it and it hit his head. That's how you know we were early. That's a harvest festival. When you look at the settings that they make for Halloween with the pumpkin, all that stuff dealing with harvest and bringing something in. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we took the track of, let's look at the land, let's look at agriculture, because the land is the work of Yahuwah's hands. And anything that's the work of Yahuwah's hands is going to testify to his work. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at the land, then we know the fruit's supposed to come up at a certain time. We look at the land, it wasn't no first fruit or no barley harvest when we were keeping unleavened bread. That land wasn't ready. You know what I'm talking about? It wasn't no harvest of wheat and no fruits to be able to bring when we were keeping Pentecost. The land wasn't ready. It wasn't no gathering of no wheat to bring in when we were keeping tabernacles because the land wasn't ready. But one thing, like I told them yesterday, and I'm going to tell y'all now, and it goes the same thing that what Paul wrote in Romans chapter 11, that the Yasharal didn't believe, the Gentile didn't believe, so he could have mercy on everybody for their unbelief, that he can have mercy on all, that nobody can boast. Ain't nobody in this world can sit back and tell you that they were keeping these feasts at this particular time and in years past at the proper time. Nobody can say that. There's not a congregation, an assembly, nowhere in the earth that say, well, shoot, we already had it scheduled to keep tabernacles October 27th. We already had it scheduled to keep trumpets October 13th. Because basically meaning we kept unleavened bread in April, we should have kept it in May. You know what I'm saying? We kept Pentecost the last week of May, which meaning we should have kept it the last week of June. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nobody in this earth was doing that. Not one. So that means he can have mercy on what? Everybody. And can't nobody boast and open their mouth and say, see, we were right and y'all were wrong. We were right. Nobody can do it. You see the mercy of Yahuwah right there? I can have mercy on all y'all. Because all y'all was wrong. Nobody was right. Thank y'all for mercy right there. So y'all didn't realize that. Y'all didn't think about that, did you? Nobody had that right. Nobody. I'm not talking about just this year. We're talking about period. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know, like I told him last night, that's how you know the man is getting, his return is imminent. When I say imminent, I ain't talking about next week or even next year. But you know it's winding down because he came through to make this correction, to separate you away from them Khazars. So it's a difference. That's why he said in the book of Exodus, in the law, that he said, I got to make a difference between the children of Yasharal and the Egyptians. Y'all follow what I'm talking about? I got to make a difference between you and them. It's got to be a difference between you and the fake Jewish people. It's got to be a difference. If they doing it in September, you doing it in October. They doing it in April, you doing it in May. You ain't doing it at the same time they doing it because they don't belong to me. 26:1, Matthew. And it came to pass, when Yahushua had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. So you know he was hung up, right? And we just read at Passover. Swing over to the 28th chapter of Matthew in verse 1. It says, in the end of the Shabbat, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of Yahuwah descended from Shamahim and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. And his countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead men. And the Malachim answered and said unto the women, fear not ye, for I know that you seek Yahushua, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen. As he said, come see the place where the master lay. So do you not realize? Oh, drop the call right at the end. Oh boy, we about done. Y'all too. Ain't nobody on this stream, so that ain't hurt nobody. All right, hold on. See, I know some people won't roll out unless they got kicked off. Some can't roll too long. So when we see a Mashiach being rolled from the dead, we see him being that wave offering, that sheave offering, or being reaped or gleaned at the barley harvest. You know what I'm saying? We see that. We see the same thing. Like I said, that woman was weeping. Did it say that that woman was there weeping and shaking away that nobody could eat at his bones and none of that stuff for them 7 sons? And you see them women coming to that grave just like that woman was there, wasn't it? In the time of what? The barley harvest. In the time of the barley harvest. All this stuff going together. It's all the same word. Then we know how he was entreated of the land, because we've already pretty much looked at that all evening. Our souls were able to be saved. So with that being said, I'll say praise ye Yahuwah for Yahushua HaMashiach in the word. Y'all understood all this stuff this evening.